comes calling for the Wolverines, but first they have to avoid that dreaded trap game with IU. For the call, Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson.
All right, Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. From Memorial Stadium here in Bloomington, Indiana, we're ready for the fourth-ranked, undefeated Michigan Wolverines as they come into town to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson, along with my quarterback, Joel Klatt, and welcome to Bloomington, everybody. Michigan, undefeated, ranked 4th in the nation. They come into town to take on Indiana. Now, next week, Wolverines with a big game. Penn State, also undefeated. Nittany Lions with the bye this week, so they're sitting home watching this game. Therefore, the theme for Michigan, don't eat the cheese, baby. This is a trap game against the Hoosiers.
Oh, I tell you what. Listen, I don't disagree with you. And in order to avoid a misstep this week against Indiana, it really comes down to mistakes and playing mistake-free football, in particular at the quarterback position. J.J. McCarthy did a really good job of that last week against Iowa. And this is a guy who's leading the country in completion percentage. He's taking care of the football. I want to see him get down the field a little bit more with that explosive passing game, because we know they can run it with Blake Corum. This guy has put himself firmly inside of that Heisman Trophy race. He's leading college football with those 10 rushing touchdowns, and he is so versatile on the edge. The defense, by the way, starting to develop that pass rush. Mike Morris, Yabi Oki, they really closed out that fourth quarter against Iowa a week ago, and their development could be huge this week, in particular against an Indiana team that doesn't protect the passer all that well. This defense, one of the best defenses in America.
As for the Indiana Hoosiers, they're coming off a road loss last week in Lincoln against Nebraska, and one thing is certain about this team: they're going to throw that ball around a whole bunch of times.
They will, and Connor Bazelak is the guy that's going to be tossing it around. Now, he comes in as a transfer from Missouri, played a lot of football there, so he's an experienced guy. And you just heard the guys on the pregame set talking about it. Over 60% of the time, they're putting the ball in the air. It really comes down to first down for Indiana. They have got to stay on schedule and stay away from that pass rush and the obvious passing downs that could really hurt them against guys like Mike Morris.
All right, time now to join the third member of our team. On the sideline, the All-American girl, Jenny Taft.
Well, Gus, I want to go back to Michigan's quarterback. Who is J.J. McCarthy? Over the last couple of weeks, we really started to see his potential. And I recently sat down with the 19-year-old, and I asked him, who do you look up to as a quarterback? Who do you try to emulate your game after? And I loved his answer, telling me he takes bits and pieces from so many different quarterbacks. How about Lamar Jackson's legs, Tom Brady's head, Patrick Mahomes' arm, and that finesse from Aaron Rodgers? And Harbaugh even told us that there really is a fine line between over-coaching McCarthy, because he wants him to figure out who he is as a quarterback game by game. And then there's the mental side of a quarterback. We know what goes into it. So J.J. McCarthy feels like he has it figured out. Every game day, he spends about 10 minutes on the field meditating. That's in addition to the 30 minutes of meditation every single day. He started it in high school, and he told me it's really helped the game slow down. Just so you guys know, Gus, Joel, I meditated this morning. I tried to follow JJ's routine. I feel great. So you guys, take a few minutes. I say give it a try.
Okay. Joel, we got to meditate a little bit at halftime, okay?
I mean, I'm a little high-strung. I don't know how to do that, but you guys already knew that.
Yeah. All right, Indiana won the toss. They deferred. Michigan will receive the football. Perfect day for football. 52 degrees, folks. Nice and cool. Sun is out. Low humidity and a nice breeze. J.J. McCarthy ready to get on the field for the first time. And this series goes back to 1900, a meeting in Ann Arbor. Michigan leads it big and has won 25 of the last 26 meetings last year in Ann Arbor. Wolverines won it handily, 29-7. Chris Freeman will send it away. A.J. Henning is the deep man. Wolverines and Hoosiers, and here we go from Bloomington. And it'll be fielded at the 5-yard line. A.J. Henning with some running room. Crosses the 20, gets up to the 23, maybe the 25. Lewis Moore with the tackle on special teams. And that'll bring out J.J. McCarthy. Solid numbers last week, Joel. 18 to 24, 155 yards, a touchdown, No interceptions. He hasn't thrown an interception this year, and he was sacked once.
You know, I thought he showed a lot of maturity because that game last week was really about the win and not about the style in which they did it. The only way they were going to lose to Iowa is if they turned the ball over. So J.J. McCarthy played within himself and within the system and really allowed that system to work for him.
Expect a steady diet of Blake Corum. Play fake. McCarthy throwing on first down. Lets it go. Caught at the 40-yard line. Nice throw. Nice catch. A 16-yard gain. And that's A.J. Henning.
And Henning is in for the injured Roman Wilson. But really, this offensive line is where this thing gets started. They are really good up front. Oluwatimi, the center, has made them athletic and tough. And then at the skill position, like I said, Henning going to get some more chances today. Ronnie Bell, a guy that can get down the field. But Blake Corum, as you said, Gus, he's the guy.
So on 1st and 10, opening series, quick strike near side. Ronnie Bell with some legs, and he's wrapped up. Taken down as he crosses the 40, gains 4 yards. Devon Matthews with the tackle defensively for IU.
Well, this Indiana defense has struggled so far this year, and today, unfortunately, they're going to be without their best player in the second level. Cam Jones, the linebacker, is out. That means Aaron Casey, number 44, he's going to have to play a great game, both in communication, leadership, and productivity on the field.
2nd down and 6 at the 43. Here's McCarthy again. Double pumps it. Fires to the sideline. Is it a catch? Yes, it is. Close to that first down marker. Ronnie Bell once again. Ironically, Michigan starts their first series. They haven't run the ball.
No, 3 straight passes, and how about that catch? I tell you what, Ronnie Bell just looks better and better every single week that we see him there. Full extension, getting that foot down before he went to the ground out of bounds, and it's another first down for Michigan.
Had the first rushing touchdown of his career last week at Iowa. A 16-yard end around that put Michigan on the scoreboard first. Ronnie Bell missed most of last year with a knee injury. 1st and 10 of the 49. Blake Corum, the single setback. And play fake. No, it's Corum this time running with room. Breaks it back. There he goes. Blake Corum. Blake. The great touchdown. Michigan, 51 yards. And they say he's down at the 1.
Well, regardless, the vision and the explosiveness right here, he should be dead. Look at that, 4 IU players that are, and he just dips under them. Oh my goodness, they're all converging. He just dips under them, shows you the explosiveness on the outside, and takes it all the way down inside the 1.
Last week, Corum, 29 carries, 133 yards, and a touchdown. 1st down and goal at the 1. He's the eye back. They give it to him. Blake Corum, touchdown, Wolverines. Bada bing, bada boom. Michigan takes it and scores on their opening drive here at Indiana.
I tell you what, that was some type of special move on the run previous, and I love what Michigan did right there is they went back to Corum. It's like, you got us all the way down to the doorstep. It's your touchdown. And they gave it to him, and that's his 11th on the year. He leads college football. This dude, I tell you what, he's playing at a ridiculously high level.
Blake Corum now with 11 rushing touchdowns on the season. Extra point is good by Jake Moody. And Michigan, power football here, marching it right down the field to take a 7-0 lead over Indiana. Harbaugh to send their teams onto the field here in Big Ten play. Michigan and Indiana. Blake Corum, 11 rushing touchdowns of the season. Continues to shine for this Wolverine squad as you take a look at the scoring drive. 5 plays covering 77 yards. Opening series for Michigan. Eating up 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Corum on the 1-yard guide. Moody sends it off. Jalen Lucas is a deep man. And he has the fair catch inside the 10. So Indiana comes into this game. Connor Bazelak, the transfer from Missouri. And they're banged up, Joel. A lot of injuries on this offense.
They do get, though, Cam Camper back at wide receiver, and that'll help him because he is the most targeted receiver for Bazelak. 49 pass attempts per game. They are as pass happy as it gets. And that's fine. That's all well and good. But you better stay on schedule. And so these first down plays are vital for Indiana to stay away from that pass rush of the Michigan Wolverines.
First down and 10 at the 25-yard line for IU. Bazelak pumping, throwing on first down. Shivers in the flats with running room. And he'll go down close to that first down marker. Rod Moore with the tackle. 9-yard gain offensively for the Hoosiers.
Well, this offensive line has given up some pressure. I think that this Michigan defensive line will have chances to get to the quarterback, in particular if he holds on to the ball. And then on the outside, Cam Camper. That's a guy you got to pay attention to.
Empty backfield for Bazelak. And they look for that first down. Shivers again. Defensively for the Wolverines, these kids are getting better and better every game.
And what I love is that they're built so much like an NFL-style defense, real heavy in the middle on the interior. Mozzie Smith, guys like Mason Graham. The pass rushers are getting better and better, like Mike Morris and Jalen Harrell. And then they're very athletic and fast in the back end.
On 3rd and 1. And I don't know, but they're saying Indiana has the first down. Michael Barrett with the tackle.
And this Indiana offense is going to be hyperspeed. They go fast.
3rd down, make that first down. Bazelak under pressure, and it'll fire it out. Incomplete. Good pressure. Mike Morris, who had 2 sacks last week, with pressure there.
And you just get the sense, Gus, you know, this is our 3rd straight week with this Michigan team, and you get the sense that the confidence for Mike Morris is increasing on almost every snap. I expect him to have a big second half of the year, and I think that starts here this afternoon against Indiana.
2nd down and 10 at the 36, and it's Shivers looking for a hole. Not a lot of room. Mozzie Smith, the senior, plugging it up. That defensive line from Michigan starting to really fire off the football over the last few games. No gain on that play. 3rd down and long. Bazelak dancing in the pocket, and he'll go down at the 25. They brought pressure. Jalen Harrell, Michael Barrett combining on the sack. And Indiana will have to punt it away, a loss of 9.
Well, what you're going to get here is you're going to get some pressure on the edge and right up the middle. Watch as you're going to get a blitz. That's Michael Barrett right up the middle. Mike Morris is there, and they get a little sandwich on Connor Bazelak in the back end.
James Evans will punt it away. A.J. Henning is the deep man. He returned to punt for a touchdown against Connecticut this year. Hits the sideline with running room and finally goes out of bounds. Flag on the play. A 46-yard punt, 19-yard return. Bryant Fitzgerald knocks him out of play.
There's a flag down.
During a return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 28. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down. Media timeout.
So coming up, Blake Corum and the Michigan offense back on the field when we return to Bloomington. On the cap, secure. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem. The only time Indiana has beaten Michigan in the last 35 years came in 2020. Michael Penix Jr. and the Hoosiers snapped their 24-game losing streak to the Wolverines. Second series of the day for the Wolverines. First down and 10 at the 20. Blake Corum lines up as the pistol back behind J.J. McCarthy. A.J. Henning in motion. Here's Corum. No, make that McCarthy on the bootleg, and he'll get close to that first down.
And there McCarthy uses his leg. Let's go above and beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above, and McCarthy has been a sub above so far early this year. 106 pass attempts without an interception. That's the longest active streak in the Big Ten. He leads college football with that 79% completion percentage. And this is a guy that I think can really take the next step today, because he's going to have opportunities to get the ball down the field. He's got to hit those chances he's missed the last couple of weeks.
2nd and 2 at the 28. McCarthy to throw it. Underneath, caught, first down, Wolverines. As he checked it down. Schoonmaker, his tight end with the catch, a gain of 4. Now, last week McCarthy took what the defense gave him, didn't turn the ball over, and engineered drives into Iowa territory on Michigan's first 5 possessions last week in his first road start, this being his 2nd road start. First down at the 32. Question for JJ, can he hit the deep ball? We'll see today. McCarthy running it again. This time the other side, slides down as he gets close to the 40-yard line.
Smart slide. Let's keep in mind, Cade McNamara, who would be their backup, is not available. He's injured. And so with the depth and health at quarterback, a question mark for Michigan. That's fine if he wants to take off and run, speaking of J.J. McCarthy, but he better protect himself and keep himself healthy. And there he does so on the first down slide.
2nd and 6. Donovan Edwards in the game now. They give it to him. Nicely done. Great job. Taiwan Mullen. And that's a loss of 5.
Nice blitz there from the corner from Taiwan Mullen. He comes in. Nice tackle for loss. And that brings up a longer yardage 3rd down. Important for Indiana here to get some pressure on J.J. McCarthy. The guy they love to target on 3rd downs is Luke Schoonmaker, number 86.
3rd down and 11 at the 31. Wolverines need to get to the 42-yard line for a first down. McCarthy out of the shotgun with Donovan Edwards near him. Here's McCarthy. Underneath, caught. And it's not enough for a first down. Schoonmaker with the reception. He couldn't get to the marker. He needed 11, got 7. Well done by the Indiana defense. Brian Fitzgerald with the tackle.
Really love Brian Fitzgerald's game. When you watch him on tape, he's such a versatile player. He can play down as a linebacker, back as a safety. There, covering Schoonmaker all the way across the field. He's got the speed to stay with him, and then a nice open field tackle.
Brad Robbins comes in to punt it away. He'll stand at his own 23-yard line. Connor Delp is the deep man for IU, standing at the 17. This one off the side of his foot. Delp comes up. And it'll be downed at the 21. So, can Bazelak and the Hoosier offense figure it out as they come on the field for the 2nd time?
Wherever.
Fox Bet Super 6 app for a chance to win $10,000. Just enter today's big noon contest and pick the 6 outcomes you think will happen. If all 6 are right, you could take home 10 G's. First down and 10 at the 24 for Indiana. Jalen Lucas in the game at running back. And they'll give it this time to Josh Henderson, who'll push the pile forward, maybe get 2 yards on the play.
Henderson is a transfer from North Carolina. They're going to try to play a lot of 2 running back sets with him or Sean Shivers as well as Jalen Lucas.
2nd down and 8 of the 26. They swing it out wide. This time it's Lucas, and Lucas will be about a yard and a half short of the first down. He gains 7.
You can see the burst that he has, that speed, and they've talked about he's just a true freshman, that they need to get the ball to Jalen Lucas.
3rd down and 1. They'll run it, looking for the first, and they should have it. Junior Colson stops Josh Henderson. They'll talk about throwing the ball. Bazelak threw it 66 times, Joel, against Cincinnati in week 4.
I tell you, I mean, a lot of that is the nature of the game. They were trying to come back, but it's also what they feel like they're best at. They feel like they're good on the outside at the wide receiver position, and that Connor Bazelak can really distribute the ball.
First down at the 34. Bazelak drops it off on the far side, and another first down. Henderson out of the backfield. Last week, Indiana lost to Nebraska 35-21 in Lincoln. Hoosiers scored all 3 of their touchdowns in the 2nd quarter. 2nd down and 1. Bazelak guns it. Back shoulder. Incomplete. Fans want a flag. Cam Camper, the intended receiver, DJ Turner, right in his hip pocket.
Yeah, I thought DJ got away with some contact right there. Look at that grab and kind of prevents Camper from coming back to the ball. They were trying to go back shoulder there. Now it brings up a short yardage, third down opportunity for this Indiana offense.
Third down and 1 for IU. This is IU's third and 1 today. Bazelak looking, fires the deep ball. All kind of bodies down, incomplete. Emery Simmons was the target. Bazelak threw that one into double coverage, so they don't pick up the first down. Looks like IU may stay on the field and try to go for it.
Well, I think that they're going to get a penalty here.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
You know, that's a makeup. I know that, I mean, officials don't normally do this, and they're not supposed to, but the last play was the PI. That was not PI on DJ Turner, but it moves the chains, probably just from the last snap before that last play, and now we kind of get set up with first down.
First down at the 41. Empty backfield. Bazelak finds a target, incomplete, threw it behind his tight end, Aaron Steinfeld.
They're without A.J. Barner, their normal tight end, and they're trying to just work him out of the backfield on a nice little pick route, and they do a good job of getting that pick, and he's wide open, just thrown behind him.
A.J. Barner out with a foot injury, and here's the run. Not a lot of room. As a matter of fact, Michigan defense swarming. Chris Jenkins leads the way. That's a loss of 3.
This Michigan defense is almost exclusively right now in man coverage, and you get the sense that Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator, believes that his defensive backs are going to be able to cover all day long and just allow that front 7 to get after it.
Third down and 13. Bazelak off his back foot, caught down at the 10. Cam Camper, a 32-yard gain.
Tell you, Bazelak had all sorts of pressure right in his face, and he just kind of hit that fadeaway, and he got the ball all the way down in front of his wide receiver, Cam Camper. That's the guy they want to target. He's certainly their best wide receiver on the outside, and he makes a great adjustment for that catch.
First down and 10. Wildcat formation now for IU. Henderson. And Henderson slammed at the line of scrimmage. Make that Donovan McCulley in the Wildcat formation. Graham with the tackle.
Boy, Graham is as a freshman becoming a real good interior piece of that defensive line. He was a wrestling champ in high school in Southern California and has come in and played really well so far this year.
Second and 10 at the 11. Connor Bazelak looking, got his man. Can he get there? Touchdown, Josh Henderson. And Indiana with a chance to tie this one up.
Well, Michael Barrett gets caught with his eyes in the backfield. He's on man coverage, and what he should know is that that back goes out. He's got to take off. He's just late by a beat, and then the move to spin back inside and get to the pylon for the touchdown. Excellent adjustment there from Henderson.
Charles Campbell comes in to attempt the extra point. And he hits it. We are level at 7. Indiana, 10 plays covering 76 yards. They find the end zone. 7-7. Back after this. In 50 years. And welcome back to Bloomington. Our game is tied at 7 apiece, under 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. And there is an injured Michigan coach on the field or on the sideline. We're not sure who it is.
Scary seeing the entire team gathered around. Now most of the Michigan players have taken a knee off to the side. Very scary scene. This was during the commercial break after the Indiana touchdown, and some commotion on the Michigan sideline. And obviously hoping for the best here.
We have been unable to identify the injured coach, but now Jenny Taft confirms it's Mike Hart, the former Michigan running back, who is the running backs coach here at Michigan. Former Indiana running backs coach Mike Hart spent a lot of time here in Bloomington.
And two of the guys that were closest during that entire sequence were Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, of course, his players. There's Mike, and obviously hoping and praying for him.
Not sure what happened. And the University of Michigan, they told Jenny that nothing like this has ever happened before with Coach Hart in his second year in Ann Arbor. There's Blake Corum, his prized pupil. Mike Hart will be taken in the back, and we'll take a look at it. Coach Mike Hart.
There was those Indiana coaches, Tom Allen, all the way across the field to give Mike some love. Of course, as you said, Gus, Mike spent time here at Indiana in Bloomington as a running back coach before going back to his alma mater, and just doing an excellent job. Mike Hart, one of the best coaches out there, and Tom Allen knows it. Jim Harbaugh certainly knows it. And now one of the most difficult things that a player can do, which is try to get themselves back into the details and execution and emotion of the game when something that has the gravity of real life, as you see the hugs on the sidelines, when real life enters into the game, that is a tough thing. And those two players, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, certainly hearts, thoughts in a different spot right now, and deservedly so.
Both those young men have to get ready to come back onto the field. A.J. Henning is the deep man, as Indiana will kick it away. Chris Freeman. Jenny will have an update on Mike Hart, Coach Mike Hart, as soon as she knows something. Freeman will send it off. Henning awaits. This ball fielded at the 8-yard line by Henning. A.J. Henning following his blocks. And he'll get close to the 25 before being knocked backwards. Now tomorrow on Fox, a huge doubleheader kicks off with the Falcons taking on Tom Brady and the Bucs. Then in America's Game of the Week, the Cowboys take on Matthew Stafford and the reigning champion Rams. It all kicks off tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox. Check for the games in your area. First down and 10 at the 25 for the Wolverines.
Ooh. I just can't imagine, what's going through their minds right now to try to come out here and play on this offensive series.
McCarthy pulls it out, looking, dumps it down. Schoonmaker. And I'm curious, Joel, you have a running back like Blake Corum that last week rushed for 133 yards. The week before had 5 touchdowns against Connecticut. And Michigan comes out, and they're not giving him the ball. He's only had 2 carries so far, and one of them was for 51 yards.
Well, remember, you could also make an argument it's unsustainable to get 59 carries over the last 2 weeks, and that they needed to give him a bit of a breather. And certainly getting the passing game going is not something that you would scoff at.
2nd down and 3. Here's Corum with a 1st down.
I will guarantee you this, Gus. He will get his chances. And he will get his touches. There's no doubt. I think that what they're trying to do is establish some passing game, maybe soften up the defense just a little bit, and then get Blake into some open positions and on the edge. Gus, one of the things they do best in their run game is get Blake Corum in one-on-one situations on the edge against the support players, guys like Bryant Fitzgerald. We'll see if Fitzgerald is able to get those tackles in open field.
1st down and 10 for Michigan. McCarthy over the middle. Nice shot, and it's caught by Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker dropped by Bradley Jennings short of the 1st down. He gained 9.
So Schoonmaker runs a nice little route right here. First of all, he's sitting at the tight end position. Watch, he's going to go out, and then he's going to curl back in. And so McCarthy has to wait, and then he comes back to the inside and delivers the ball right onto his frame. And what you got to have when you run those little double move type of routes, time. And the offensive line certainly providing that time.
JJ starts this game 7 for 7. Schoonmaker with his 4th catch. 2nd down and 1. Play fake. McCarthy throws on the move. And it's a dart. Ronnie Bell. Nice yards after the catch. He'll gain 27. McCullough with the tackle.
I tell you, the trajectory that he put on that ball, speaking of J.J. McCarthy, was outstanding. Watch as he comes onto the outside, and he's got a defender in between he and his intended receiver. And Gus, he does a beautiful job of just putting it over the defender with touch, and it's down and pointed back down at the receiver. I tell you, pitch selection for a quarterback is so important, and that was a terrific job by McCarthy.
1st down at the 28. Donovan Edwards now trying to get outside, and he'll be tackled at the line of scrimmage. Aaron Casey. Nicely done. It's only a 1-yard gain.
Got a chance to sit with Aaron Casey yesterday, and what an impressive young man he is, and a guy that they're really counting on with Cam Jones, their best defender, out. Aaron Casey has got to be great, and that was a terrific tackle on the edge of Donovan Edwards.
2nd down and 10 of the 28-yard line for Michigan. Under 2 minutes to play in the 1st quarter. Here's Edwards. Cuts it inside. Nice foot in the ground. Matt Holt with the tackle. 2-yard pickup.
A big chance here for Indiana to try to force Michigan into a kicking situation. On a 3rd and long, and they've got to try to get to McCarthy. If you give him too much time, he'll find somebody. And again, what they'll do is they'll be looking for these tight ends and maybe some crossing routes as Indiana looks like they're in man coverage.
3rd down and 8 at the 26. Corum back in for the Wolverines. McCarthy looking over the middle. Incomplete. Ronnie Bell was there. Flag on the play. Colston Loveland also in the vicinity for the Wolverines.
I think they're going to get Michigan on a hold here. It was a terrific pass rush from up front.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. Penalties decline. 4th down.
That's a right guard, Zach Zinter.
That's a good stop for Indiana. That is a really good stop for them in trying to force Michigan into this field goal opportunity. Tom Allen, who calls the defensive plays, back in that role this year. He's got to be pleased with the way his guys got out there and bowed their neck there on 3rd down.
So Jake Moody comes in to attempt a 44-yarder. Robbins is his holder. Got it up. And good. 1:02 to play in the 1st quarter. Michigan taking a 10-7 lead. But Coach Allen happy with the way his defense, as you mentioned, Joel, bowed up their necks and kept the Wolverines out of the end zone for 6.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a good year in college football, hasn't it? I feel like we've got some of what we expected and then some surprises. Look at these undefeated tiers right now amongst the Power 5 teams. These are the expected ones. We knew Bama and Georgia and Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson were going to be really good. And then some teams that, I'll tell you what, I see what you're doing. SC, Oklahoma State, Penn State, Tennessee, Ole Miss. The surprises to me are TCU and UCLA, how well they played. And then wait, what? Syracuse and Kansas still undefeated? Aren't we in October? This isn't March, folks, and these two schools have done a heck of a job. Dino Babers at Syracuse, Lance Leipold at Kansas. They've done outstanding work, and this is what I love about college football is just the progression of the sport. And
how good is TCU? They really put it on Oklahoma last week.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they got the second best total and scoring offense in college football, but a great test right now against Kansas.
Fair catch made by Indiana. Bazelak comes back on the field. Down 10-7, 1:02 to go here in the first quarter.
I think maybe the better question is like, what happened to OU?
Yeah.
We saw them against Nebraska. They looked like world beaters and just fallen off of a cliff since then, haven't they?
They certainly have. Coach Venables, head coach at OU in his first year, coming over from Clemson, where he served as the defensive coordinator and won 2 national championships with the Tigers. 1st and 10 of the 25. And they'll give it to Shivers. And he'll be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Chris Jenkins defensively for Michigan.
I want to see if Michigan adjusts this man coverage on the outside, because what happened is they were having a tough time getting lined up in their man defense because of how often Indiana was switching around their formation.
Bazelak in trouble and sacked. Jalen Harrell got to him, the junior from Tampa, but there is a flag.
Well, they did switch up their coverage. This one's going to go on Michigan after the play here.
Into the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 32. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's his first of the game.
So Harrell after the sack. Well, first of all, you're going to see zone defense. So Michigan does change it up on this snap. And that's why Bazelak comes off with this fake, and he's got nowhere to go. You see in the back end, all those Michigan defenders, they are getting depth that allows Harrell to get to the quarterback, and then he comes up and gives the gesture across his face, and that's what drew the flag.
What does that mean? What was the gesture?
Well,
it wasn't a throat cut.
Right, it wasn't. I think he thought it was. He's trying to argue that it wasn't a throat slash, which I don't think it was, and there's more pressure here.
Bazelak throws it out. Michigan right there. Shivers will gain a couple of yards. Mike Sainristil defensively for the Wolverines, and that could take us to the end of the first quarter, although Indiana does play fast. 2nd down and 8. Let's see if they try to get a play off. And they will not. End of the first quarter. Michigan on top of Indiana 10-7. Back to Bloomington right after this. We start the second quarter. Michigan undefeated, ranked 4th with a 10-7 lead over Indiana. As the Hoosiers have made some plays early on here. Bazelak. And another play made. First down, Emory Simmons. Gain of 13.
Boy, this pace is giving Michigan some problems right now, and this is the fastest we've seen yet this year, in terms of offensive tempo and the pace in which they're trying to snap the ball.
First down to the 46. Indiana having no problems moving that football. Over the middle, another completion. Emory Simmons, and he'll turn on the Jets and burst up the field and get close to the first down, and he may have it. That's a 9-yard gain, so they say he's a yard short. 2nd down and 1. Bazelak sideline, first down. Shivers Dropped at the 40. Michigan confused by this offense.
Yeah, what they're doing is that they're flipping strength, passing strength almost every down from right to left. And Michigan loves to declare their strength defensively. And so they're trying to flip with them. But Michigan's also doing something smart. You see, every time Indiana substitutes, then Michigan substitutes the furthest player on the field, and then the other guy jogs off the field. And the officials should have given him time to do that right there.
Bazelak looking, and he'll just dump this one out of play.
The officials should have held that snap because Michigan.
But another flag on the play.
They're saying substitution.
It was outside. They had 12. They had 12. Legal substitution. Defense. More than 11 players on the field. 5-yard penalty. First down.
See, this is on the officials here because you're allowed to substitute. Indiana substituted, and you're allowed to substitute. So they're substituting the far corner for the far corner, and he's jogging off the field, and the officials allowed him to snap the football. That's why Jim Harbaugh is so upset right now, yelling at that far side official, and Harbaugh is right.
First down and 5. Bazelak over the middle, caught again. This time, Anderson, Kobe. Rodmore with the tackle, 15-yard gain.
Good rhythm from this Indiana team, and Bazelak has come out and really been efficient with this football there, finding that over route off of the play action as he gets outside of the pocket.
First down and 10 of the 19. Bazelak, pumping, looks, delivers, incomplete. Flag on the play. DJ Turner was covering.
Pass interference. Defense, number 20. Ball be placed at the spot of the infraction. Automatic. First down.
That's Mullings.
So Kalel Mullings, he's coming out, and he's going to be locked up with the tight end, Steinfeld, who's trying to get the double move. And as he's trying to get back up the field, that's when Mullings gets his eyes in the backfield and then holds him, grabs him, and Steinfeld can't get back up the field, and the flag comes out. This defense having a hard time with this offense, the pace of the offense and the efficiency of Bazelak getting the ball all over the field.
He's 5 of 5 on this drive. First and goal at the 10. Bazelak drops it off, has his man, touchdown Hoosiers. Steinfeld, the tight end. And how about this? Indiana takes a 13-10 lead as we start the second quarter.
Well, they get away with one here. Watch this. They're going to get basically a little crackback and allow the tight end to come through, and they're going to block even before it's caught. Now, because that's blocked, you can catch that ball behind the line of scrimmage. That one was across the line of scrimmage. That was upfield. Flag should have come out. It did not. Steinfeld walks into the end zone because of the nice block from the outside receiver.
Charles Campbell comes in to attempt the extra point.
And I think they did put a flag down, and they are checking. You see the near side officials? They're talking right now about that because it has to do with where he caught that ball, Gus, and where the ball was snapped. If the ball was snapped at the 10 and the ball was caught at the 9, then that's an illegal block, and it's offensive pass interference.
Pass interference. Offense, number 6. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Ball snapped at the 10. Here comes the tight end. If he stays behind the 10, then this is a legal play. If he catches it at the 11-yard line, there's the block.
Ruin on the field was the ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage, and there was a block.
And that's exactly right. Steinfeld was beyond the line of scrimmage. Here's DJ Turner pleading his case, and he's exactly right. That's a good job by the officials to get that one right because it was tight right there.
So they'll wipe the 6 points off the board. Score remains 10-7. First down and goal now for Indiana at the 25.
And if you're wondering, that's the tight end's responsibility. So he's got to know where the line of scrimmage is and keep himself behind the line of scrimmage.
Bazelak looking, Throwing in the corner. Incomplete. Kobe, the intended receiver. Green covering for Michigan.
And some pressure there in the back end. Chris Jenkins, number 94, hit Bazelak right when he threw it. And Bazelak has already taken a couple of hits here, and Michigan will substitute again on the defensive line. Here's the hit as he threw it, and there's Jenkins just a step away as Bazelak got that ball away.
Second down goal at the 25. And a timeout called by Indiana. Life is for living. Let's partner for all of it. Indiana has beaten an AP Top 5 team once in its history, and it came in 1967 versus number 3 Purdue. Indiana will go on to win the Big Ten title that season. It's also the last time they won the conference. Hoosiers faced with a second down and goal from the Michigan 25. Connor Bazelak has been very efficient. Bazelak looking, guns it in the end zone. Incomplete. Cam Camper couldn't get a foot down.
Boy, he almost did, though. That was almost a sensational play by Indiana, and you got to give DJ Turner some credit here, because as Camper goes up to get this back shoulder fade, watch Turner just contact him and just kind of push him out of bounds.
Third down goal at the 25. Shivers, and he's crunched as soon as he crosses the line of scrimmage. Mozzie Smith, 2-yard gain, and Indiana will be forced to attempt a field goal.
You know, I think that play call, obviously it's a long yardage, but it's a tip of the cap to the fact that Michigan has just gotten so much pressure on Bazelak so far in this game, and if he's holding the ball past about 1.5, 2 seconds, somebody from Michigan is usually there and hitting him.
Charles Campbell didn't attempt a field goal last week against Nebraska. This one from 41 yards away. 8 of 9 on the season. And it's good. Charles Campbell hits a 41-yarder to level this game at 10 with 12:08 to go in the second quarter. Indiana fighting against the 4th-ranked undefeated Michigan Wolverines. Wendy's pretzel bacon pub cheeseburger. It's back. Welcome back. 10-10 our score here in Bloomington. Indiana marching it down the field. They get the field goal from Charles Campbell, 41-yarder. We're all tied up. A.J. Henning, the deep man for the Wolverines. Henning has it at the 1-yard line. Henning with a lane and finally gobbled up at the 23. Solid special teams play. Deshaun McCullough.
Pacific Life Game Summary, sponsored by Pacific Life. Creating financial security for more than 150 years. Well, here's what it looks like so far. 10-10 on the scoreboard, but yards per play so far today dominated by Michigan. Almost 8.5. Indiana under 4, but Indiana has hung around, and that pace, their offensive ability to throw the ball around with Connor Bazelak has kept them in it, and we're tied at 10.
Let's see if Michigan goes back to their bread and butter. Blake Corum, he only has 3 carries thus far. Here's delayed handoff. Corum with running room. And he'll gain a few, 4 yards to be exact. Miles Jackson with the tackle. Let's go downstairs to JT.
Well, what I can tell you, Gus, is that Coach Mike Hart has left Memorial Stadium in an ambulance for further evaluation. His wife, Monique, was by his side. He was alert on the stretcher, giving the thumbs up. And as you can imagine, it has been a bit emotional on Michigan's sideline. J.J. McCarthy specifically checking on Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and some emotion from Indiana as well. You pointed out he coached here. He means a lot to both of these teams, and I'll keep you guys in the loop.
All right, thank you very much, Jen. Corum again runs into a wall. May have lost a yard on that play. Matt Holt with the tackle. They say it's a 1-yard gain.
Beautiful tackle, and it puts them behind the chains. So now Indiana, a great chance defensively. They've got to send some pressure here.
3rd down and 5. McCarthy. Incomplete. No flags on the play. Ronnie Bell, the intended receiver. And Indiana's defense forces Michigan to punt it away again. And the Wolverine offense looks out of sync.
It does. And what McCarthy's going to see on film is that he's got a 1st down right sitting over the ball. All he's got to do is hit his back foot, bam, give it to Henning right there. He's trying to go past him, maybe overthrew Henning, but Henning needs that ball on time and on target. You move the chains, and it would be 1st down Michigan.
Brad Robbins punting from the 14. First 3 and out from either team today. Delp lets it take a bounce, and it'll take a Michigan bounce. It will be downed inside the 25. The Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway is back and making college students' dreams come true. Enter on TikTok before October 12th. See full rules at drpepper.com. There's that TikTok.
Did you get an introduction? You got all that?
Jenny wanted to get me on that TikTok.
She told me that she's got you ready to go, ready to locked in on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm just working on my gritty. I got to get the gritty going.
Getting your dance moves ready. That's smart. Be prepared.
That's right. So here come the Hoosiers. Bazelak hit as he throws, incomplete. Let's go downstairs to JT. JT, what do you got?
Gus, you talked a big game. I had to go get Matt Liner to do a TikTok with me because you weren't ready for it. I want to see your moves. Everyone wants to see what you got.
Yeah, wait, let's be honest. Matt's been dying to do a TikTok with you because he wants more TikTok followers.
We're trying to share the love, right?
That's true. That's true.
2nd down and 10 of the 24. Bazelak throws the hitch near side. Emery Simmons. Simmons has been doing a nice job in this game.
Yes.
He's got multiple catches. Junior Colson knocks him out of play.
And what they've done here is I think they're finding their most success when they get Bazelak outside of the pocket on some of those little run action passes, or they get the ball out of his hand very quickly. They like to throw it down the field. The problem is he just doesn't have a lot of time to throw it down the field.
1st down, though, for Indiana. Bazelak knocked away. Almost intercepted. Been a golden opportunity for Oki. Just couldn't hold on.
Boy, he dropped from his defensive end position, and Yabi Oki has this when he's trying to tip it to himself. Great job falling underneath the route and just out of reach of those fingertips. That's an excellent job by the former 5-star recruit.
Bazelak pulls it down, throws, and is that an interception? Yes, it is. Rod Moore.
Little miscommunication on the outside for Indiana and Bazelak. He's trying to go to Cam Camper, and Cam Camper gave him a little bit of a double move and came back to the inside. Moore's in coverage right behind him. You see Camper heading back to the inside of the field. Bazelak was not expecting that, and that ball winded up right in the lap of Rod Moore, the safety. And this is the one area that Michigan wanted to increase their takeaways, and they got the turnover buffs going on the sideline, the Cartiers.
The Cardi boys on that Michigan defense. Anytime there's a turnover, somebody gets to put on the cool shades. 1st down, Wolverines. Let's see if they can pay it off. McCarthy bounces out of the pocket, throws to the sideline, and it is caught. A.J. Henning, and a late flag thrown. Make that Ronnie Bell. A late flag thrown.
Like maybe late Devon Matthews, the safety who was in coverage, took a swipe at the ball late when he was out of bounds. Didn't look like much, I can tell you that.
Ruling on the field of reception. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that was Devon Matthews.
I don't know, man. Matthews is in coverage on the sideline, and here Ronnie Bell goes, and they're both going out of bounds, and Matthews is trying to pull the ball out and kind of rips at the ball like that, and that's what they called for an unsportsmanlike.
How is that an unsportsmanlike
I don't know.
penalty?
The previous one wasn't either. Now there's going to be a flag on the Michigan sideline. These officials are struggling today.
Yeah, they are. A little flag happy.
Sideline warning. Michigan, they're first of the game. Next violation will result in a yardage penalty.
Jerry McGinn is your referee. Jim Harbaugh, 58 years old, in his 8th season at Michigan. Harbaugh has led Michigan to a 5-0 start for the 3rd time in 8 seasons. First down and 10 of the 19 for the Wolverines. Corum, and nothing. Wow, what a terrific job by this Indiana defense led by Bradley Jennings. A loss of 3.
Yeah, great job here from the second level. Watch as he's going to go under the block of the tight end Schoonmaker. So he is just going to get to the inside and get into the backfield, and Blake Corum tries to stop and spin back to the other side of the field, and he's just unable to do so.
So that brings up 2nd down and 13 at the 22. McCarthy underneath, nice throw and catch, should be a first down. Cornelius Johnson with the reception, and that'll be his 9th catch of the season. Only had 1 versus Iowa last week.
I think he was just short, Gus, so it is going to bring up a 3rd down. And they'll bring on the extra tight end. A couple of tight ends in the game, along with Corum in the backfield.
Johnson had 5 catches for 108 yards against the Hoosiers last year. 3rd down and short. And a timeout called by Michigan.
Timeout, Michigan. They're first of the half.
We'll stay right here.
30-second charge timeout.
Well, we found now Indiana's defense in this position a couple of times. 3rd downs, opportunity to get off the field, force a kicking opportunity.
Don't forget, you can find all of Joel's Breaking the Huddle content at foxsports.com, the Fox Sports app, and CFB on Fox social platforms.
There's been a lot to talk about, certainly, whether it's been Breaking the Huddle, Gus, the podcast. Still, you're welcome on the podcast anytime.
Does it pay?
Goodness of your heart, brother.
I don't know if I have that much goodness in my heart.
Check out the Joel Klatt Show wherever you download your podcasts, and we have a good time. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, new episodes drop.
3rd down and 1 at the 10-yard line for Michigan. McCarthy straight ahead. Corum, first down. 4-yard gain.
How about this push by this offensive line? Look at these guys. They're just going to squeeze down, squeeze down, squeeze down. And those 4 right there, you got Ryan Hayes, Trevor Keegan, Oluwatimi, Zach Zinter. Beautiful job. Trente Jones on the right side, just squeezing down, getting shoulder to shoulder, and pushing that defensive line back for a first down.
First down and goal at the 7. Corum. And he's knocked down. Looks like one of his own. He ran into one of his own teammates. That's C.O. Nofo making the stop for Indiana.
Nofoonga Totoa comes in, number 50. This guy is a load now, 315 pounds, and he just stands Oluwatimi right back up in the backfield, and Blake Corum's got nowhere to go. Excellent job up front.
2nd and goal at the 8. McCarthy with time in the end zone. Incomplete. Ronnie Bell just couldn't hold on. Looks like that was broken up by Christopher Keys.
This is great coverage by Christopher Keys. He's getting a lot of playing time today because Jalen Williams, the normal corner, is out. And look at him. He's trying to work back inside Ronnie Bell, and Keys is right there to break up that pass going back into the end zone. And now another 3rd down opportunity for Indiana. They got to send pressure here, load up the line of scrimmage, and try to get themselves into the backfield.
3rd down and goal at the 8-yard line. McCarthy looking, bouncing, with time in the end zone. Back of the end zone, incomplete. Henning was the target, and Indiana's defense will force Michigan to attempt a field goal.
What a great job by this secondary, because McCarthy had all day to throw, and they did a terrific job covering up these wide receivers. Now, this is max protection, which means there was only 3 guys out on the route, and McCarthy's got all day. He's just sitting there waiting. Henning breaks off his route. He's open in the back end, but just couldn't corral it.
Jake Moody, good today from 44 yards out. This one from 26 yards away for the lead, and he has it. No! It's blocked! Indiana blocks it. I think it was Bryant Fitzgerald. And the Hoosiers turn away the Wolverines.
In Bloomington, Rob Stone with you, coming up on the State Farm halftime highlights from our FS1 undefeated matchup between TCU and Kansas. Tennessee jumped all over LSU in Death Valley early, and the mullet is back for the Longhorns. Highlights from Texas and Oklahoma coming up, guys.
All right, thank you very much. It looked like James Head was the player for Indiana that blocked the field goal, number 6. And here's the run by Lucas. Look at Jalen Lucas on the move down at the 40. 37-yard gain. Turner with the tackle.
There is a flag down late at the end of the run.
Sideline warning. Indiana, their first of the game. Next violation will result in a yardage penalty. 1st and 10.
Yeah, this is a pretty flag-happy crew. Although, if a side judge gets contacted by a coach on the sideline, the flag is going to come out, in particular on a long run like that. But how about Lucas? Jalen Lucas, he's got some wiggle, some burst, and then he showed you some top-end speed on that play as well.
1st down at the Michigan 41. They throw it far side, picked up the turf by Simmons. And Simmons gets upfield. He'll gain 6 on the play.
This is just a great game plan from this Indiana offense. You got to give Tom Allen, their head coach, their offensive coordinator as well, Walt Bell, who comes in as the first-year offensive coordinator for this Indiana program. They've had a nice plan.
2nd down and 4. Bazelak caught again. Another 1st down. Lucas as he turns it up and gets close to the Michigan 25. 8-yard gain.
And Michigan has thrown a lot at this offense. They've tried man coverage early. It wasn't working. Now they're trying to play some zone coverage and trying to create pressure with their front 4. There they got good protection and a nice completion.
1st down. Bazelak near side. Simmons. And Simmons gets out of bounds at the 25. Mike Sain was still 2-yard gain.
There's Jesse Minter. He's the defensive coordinator for Michigan, trying to make these adjustments. And you see, this is also something that they're trying to do. Anytime Indiana substitutes, they're bringing on a whole new defensive line and trying to get some sort of rest because of the fast pace that Indiana is playing with.
2nd down and 8. Josh Henderson checks in at running back. Bazelak underneath. Throws a strike. Camper. Camper gets to the 20. Tell you what, this Connor Bazelak has been as cool as a fan here in the first half.
You're right, unfazed with some of that pressure, and that's exactly what they call him, by the way. Unfazed Baze is what they call him. Very level-headed. He played triple option in high school, so he's not used to this type of pace throwing the ball around, but he's certainly executing at a high level.
16-24, 148 yards passing. Bazelak, first down. That's McCulley with the reception.
You know, and in this style of passing attack, I understand why Jesse Minter wants to play man, because when you play zone against this, it's kind of an air raid style of attack in the passing game. They will eat up zone coverage.
1st and 10 of the Michigan 15. Bazelak pitches it out. Henderson squares his shoulders. Henderson, another first down for Indiana. Jimmy Roller with the tackle, but the Hoosiers moving and grooving now.
And on every one of those outside kind of wide receiver screens, what do you see? Excellent blocking downfield by the tight end Aaron Steinfeld, by the other wide receivers. On that one, Emery Simmons with a terrific block.
First down and goal at the 5. Bazelak pulls it out and just throws it out of play. Okie with pressure, and Bazelak gets up slowly.
And Junior Colson was in on the pressure, number 25, and was able to get to the quarterback. Well, I'm sorry, that's Yabioki. Colson was behind him, and that's the hit that he take. Yabioki 18 in there, forcing him, and Tom Allen upset about Bazelak taking that hit.
Second down and goal at the Michigan 5 for IU. They hand it off, and the Wolverines were ready. Jalen Harrell again. What a game this young man's having.
He sure is on that edge, and there, Bazelak was trying to get that run fake and read what was going on with the back end, almost like an RPO, but Harrell just took the decision from him, went in there and tackled the ball carrier.
Third and goal at the 6. Bazelak fires incomplete. This time Simmons couldn't hold on. Sainristil knocks the ball out of his hands.
Boy, that's good coverage from Sainristil, because Simmons had a little bit of space, but then as the ball arrived, Sainristil closes and goes in and just hits that left elbow, lifts him up, and it's an incompletion, and it looks like Michigan will hold for a field goal opportunity.
Charles Campbell, good from 41. This one from 29 yards away. And the lead. And that one's blocked. Michigan gets a finger on it. So now Indiana has blocked a field goal, and Michigan has blocked a field goal. And the score remains 10-10. I think it was Mike Morris. Keep your eye on number 90, folks. Yes, it was. 10-10 our score. Late in the second quarter here in Bloomington, Michigan takes over. First down. Corum. Not a lot of room. Bo Robbins with the tackle.
Let's take a look at our college football mayhem moment, sponsored by Allstate. Back-to-back blocks field goals. First, it was Moody trying his short attempt, and a great job by James Head getting his hand on the ball. And then it was Mike Morris's turn for Michigan. The pick number 90 gets his hand. 2 short field goals, back-to-back drives, thus back-to-back blocked field goals. Our mayhem moment.
There's Mike Morris, had 2 sacks last week at Iowa. There's Head. Got his hand on the football. And there's an injured player. Looks like Trente Jones. As I rolled up on.
Never good offensive lineman always kind of exposed like that as they are engaged and blocking. And Trente Jones has played really well this year so far. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school, Grayson High School in Grayson, Georgia. But the senior has provided a lot of athleticism to this group this year, along with Oluwatimi. And they had been really until about the last quarter and a half. They had been dominant as a run offensive line, but Indiana has done a really good job defensively of keeping this Michigan run game in check.
All right, we're going to step away for a moment while they tend to Jones.
We get to see the Super Bowl champs in week.
Tackle for the Wolverines. Jeffrey Percy is listed as his backup, but let's see who they put in there in his place.
It's like Carson Barnhart, 52.
Second and 8 at the 22. McCarthy, sideline, Schoonmaker. He'll get out of bounds, stopping the clock at 2:49, 6-yard gain.
The last 4 drives for Michigan, only 3 points. They have not been able to run the ball. Since that 50-yard run from Blake Corum, this IU defense has done a tremendous job stopping the run. Now, 12 carries for about 19 yards since that long run. And here, even in a short yardage, they need to commit their resources, get guys up near the line of scrimmage, make sure Michigan can't just easily run for this first down.
This Indiana defense has been terrific. Remember, Tom Allen took over the play calling duties for the defense this year.
I think he's going to take a timeout.
Timeout, Indiana. They're second of the half. The 30-second charge, timeout.
Next, the college football action continues as 11th-ranked Utah takes on 18th-ranked UCLA. Then Washington State faces 6th-ranked USC at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox. Tell you what, that UCLA-Utah game is going to be great.
Yeah, it really
How good
will.
is UCLA this year?
I think they're quietly much better than people think. In fact, Gus, when you look at the way that they run the ball, they're second in the Pac-12 running the ball. They're number 1 defensively in terms of yards per rush, and that could be tough for Utah. And by the way, you think this is a trap game for Michigan, which it's turning out to be? That Washington State game for USC, don't eat the cheese there either, because they've got Utah next week. That one's at USC, as Washington State's going to come down to Los Angeles.
3rd down and 2 at the 28. McCarthy started 8 for 8. He's 3 of 7 since. Here's McCarthy. Over the middle, caught. Donovan Edwards, first down.
I'll tell you what a weapon Donovan Edwards is. A running back that can just go out and run such a precise route as a wide receiver. And now Michigan, getting closer to 2 minutes, will quicken their tempo here and play fast.
First down and 10 to the 38. 2 timeouts remaining for the Wolverines. And they'll use their second timeout.
Well, this has not been pretty so far for Michigan. 2 things. 1, you got to give IU a lot of credit. Like you were saying, Tom Allen, this defense, they have played really hard so far, and they've done a great job of stopping the run and forcing the game onto McCarthy and that passing game for Michigan. And on the flip side, you know what we're not seeing, Gus? The wide receivers create space for Michigan. They're not winning on the outside, even if the pass protection is there. And because of that, it's been difficult for Michigan to throw the ball today against this defense.
First down and 10 at the 38. Michigan with 1 timeout left. Play fake. McCarthy sets up. Sideline. Ronnie Bell. Tie goes to the runner. They're going to give this to Michigan. First down. Devon Matthews tried to take it away. It's a 15-yard gain.
Ball is woefully underthrown, and Matthews basically has it, but watch Ronnie Bell just wrestle it away from him as he's going to the ground. That's a great strength and competitiveness from Ronnie Bell.
McCarthy again. This time it's batted down from behind Aaron Casey. This Indiana defense came ready to play today.
They did, and they don't have their leader, their best player, Cam Jones, who's on the sideline in a leadership role, encouraging his teammates. But give this group a lot of credit. They've come out with passion, energy. They're flying around the football, and they are making plays.
2nd down and 10 at the 47 for the Wolverines. Here's a handout. Straight ahead, Edwards. Stopped by Alfred Bryant after an 8-yard pickup. 1:38 and counting. Michigan finding a little rhythm on this drive. 3rd down and short. Can the Hoosiers turn them away again?
I think it's 4-down territory for them here, so probably another run.
Edwards. And he didn't get it. He did not get it. DeMarcus Elliott says not here. Not now.
They will stay on the field. It is going to be a 4th down attempt, and now Corum will get back on the field with an extra tight end.
Michigan quickly to the line of scrimmage. 4th down and 2. Quarterback sneak. Indiana says no.
Timeout. Michigan. That's their final charge. Timeout of the half.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Well, I think it's important, Gus, to just point out the emotion on the Michigan sideline after what happened to Coach Hart. I mean, it truly did shift. I mean, you felt it, and it has been hard for them to get back. Defensive end Mike Morris, he's been really vocal on the sideline, talking to his guys about how we handle this adversity. We have to rise above it. He said we can't let the calls from the refs affect us and dictate how we play. But boy, does this team need to get into the locker room, take a second, get hopefully an update on their coach, and really reset for a second half.
Yeah, and the run game, Jenny, like you allude to, that's the area that has gone south for Michigan. As soon as Mike Hart left that sideline, the run game has really struggled, and because of that, a real lack of rhythm for this Michigan offense as a whole.
4th down and 2 at the 39 of Indiana. Corum. Oh, he's tracked down in the backfield for a loss. Devin Matthews, what a play. And Michigan turns it over on downs. Can you smell that, partner?
I sure can, and right here what you see is that Ronnie Bell is brought down tight to the line of scrimmage in order to block Matthews, but he doesn't get down tight enough. Matthews knifes into the backfield, and he's able to get to Corum's legs before Corum can get going at all. That is a great defensive call, terrific execution from Matthews, and a real poor job by Ronnie Bell, who's supposed to be there to cut off that backside.
So 1st down and 10 at the 41 for Indiana. Bazelak. Incomplete. With 43 seconds left, Oki with that pressure.
Yeah, when they try to throw the ball down the field with any sort of drop back action, boy, that pass rush is getting real close to Connor Bazelak.
2nd and 10. Bazelak hands it off. Henderson around the corner. Henderson plowing his way forward for 1st down. Junior Colson cleans it up at the end. But 1st down, Hoosiers. 2nd down and 10. Empty backfield for Bazelak. And Bazelak is sacked in the backfield.
Mike Morris, just a monster rush on the left side of that offensive line. And again, in the drop back game, it's just going to be difficult because of the time that he doesn't have. Watch, he's going to go up and then down.
That's your final charge timeout of the half.
Perfect job by Mike Morris. Bazelak's been taking a lot of hits so far in this game. They've done a nice job. It's 10-10, but boy, he has been exposed, and that defensive line continues to rush hard. Beautiful move there from Morris to use his strength and then get back on the underside and the inside of the rush and get to the quarterback.
At the half, Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Urban Meyer standing by with the State Farm halftime show right here from Memorial Stadium. Second down and 16. Baseline. Winds up. Sideline throw. Incomplete. That'll bring up third down and long. Taylor Upshaw with pressure. Where do the Hoosiers need to go to get in field goal range for Charles Campbell?
Well, Charles Campbell is a good kicker, and he's got distance. Before the game, he was attempting from about 58 and coming up just short. So he would need to get the ball at least inside of the 40 to give himself a chance at something around 55.
Third down and 16. He made a 55-yarder against Maryland last year. And Michigan drops Henderson for a loss. Taylor Upshaw again. That's a loss of 1. Brings up fourth down and 17. With 4 seconds left.
You know, I think that play call was just an acknowledgement for IU that, listen, this has gone really well for us, and we're going to be happy at 10-10, which they are. But with the circumstances from that Michigan sideline, with their coach going down Mike Hart, they're probably happy to just go in right now and try to regroup as well.
All right, don't forget, after the break, join Rob Stone and the guys with the State Farm halftime show right here from Memorial Stadium. How about this, folks? 10-10 our score at halftime. Indiana fighting. Back after this.
Hey, National League's biggest stars lead their teams in a fight for the crown.
Nothing better than October.
The NLDS begins Tuesday on Fox and FS1.
We welcome you to the State Farm Fox College Football halftime show. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Josh Henderson capping off a 10-play, 76-yard drive to tie things up at 7s. It is now 10-10 in Bloomington. IU alum Mark Cuban. Oh, again, he's pushing that GoFood.com. Man, you're shameless. You're shameless. But, you know, people are going there. You're welcome, Mark. You're welcome. Highlights coming up next, including the top 20 undefeated showdown in the Big 12 between TCU and Kansas, which is airing right now over on FS1. 109th homecoming here at Indiana. The Hoosiers with only 10 wins in 70 prior meetings with the Wolverines, but they are in position to make it 11. Is their opening drive of this game. It was capped off by Blake Corum's nation-leading 11th rushing score of the season, but we are tied at 10s at the break with Michigan hosting number 10 Penn State next Saturday. There was concern among the maize and blue faithful this would be a trap game, and it has played out that way so far. Glad you're with us at the break. Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and the coach Urban Meyer here with you. Though, again, the lead story, Michigan's all-time leading rusher and their current running backs coach, Mike Hart, had a seizure on the sidelines, was taken to the hospital for further evaluation. We will give you updates as soon as we get them. And Coach Hart, everybody in Maize and Blue, we're thinking about you guys right now, for sure. The second story today, how Indiana is hanging tough with the mighty Michigan Wolverines, and that leads off our State Farm halftime highlights. And Matt, it's their defense that's doing it.
They've taken away what Michigan does best, and that's running the football with Edwards and Blake Corum, guys. Outside of that 50-yard run that we saw early with Blake Corum, they've held Michigan to 27 yards on 16 carries. The defensive line has done a great job kind of neutralizing that front. And then the linebackers, Deshaun McCullough, Aaron Casey, Bradley Jennings Jr., they've scraped and flowed and made a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. They have given this team so much confidence going into that locker room for the second half.
Well, talented quarterback of the Wolverines, J.J. McCarthy, we said in pregame, he's really not had to go win the game yet. And on third downs today, they've really struggled. You see right here, this is a completed pass on a crossing route, but well short of the first down. The next one, he throws right into coverage in Indiana. The worst pass defense in the Big Ten breaks it up. And then this next one, just a misfire. They're not on the same page when you see a ball land like this. And then finally, all kinds of time here. He scrambles. Looks like he has a guy open the end zone. He doesn't hit him. We made the comment at some point The Wolverine quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is going to have to win a game. We said probably not today.
It might be today.
It might be today, Reg.
It might be today, Coach. And that was the thing I was going to talk about, because when you look at this offense right now for Michigan, it looks flat, right? They look like they're missing that spark. And so J.J. McCarthy has to play better. We want to see him open up that playbook. This second half is going to be his opportunity, I think, to open it up and to throw it downfield. But, Brady, I want to ask you, as a quarterback, going into halftime and knowing that your offense needs a support, what's your mindset coming out?
My mindset's put the game on me. I mean, right now, obviously, as Matty pointed out, Indiana's done a good job stopping the run. Put it on me. Let me push the ball downfield more. Everything I'm seeing right now from this offense seems very vanilla. It's almost like they're scared to let J.J. McCarthy throw a 4 vertical route and take some shots downfield. Remember early in the season, we saw all those shots, how good he was. I know we struggled versus Maryland, and it seems like ever since then, the Michigan coaching staff doesn't want to allow him to open things up. So put it on me, boys. Let me go out there and win.
Remember against Iowa, that's where 3 times on 3rd down and 4, they handed the ball off. Here today, I saw a little bit of the same thing in that last drive. It was 3rd down and 2, and they, instead of putting it in the quarterback's hands in the 2-minute drill, they handed it off.
We got to acknowledge, too, after the seizure from Mike Hart, it seemed like everything changed as far as the demeanor on the sideline, rightfully so. So, obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with him, too. But that's something I think they've got to figure out how to overcome here today. But their defense has stepped up. They've given up the most passing yards. This Michigan defense has given up all year long. But they've held strong in the red zone. They had the blocked field goal as well. Got some pressures and sacks along with the interception, too. So the Michigan defense right now is what's really keeping them in this game and keeping it tight.
One other nugget, Michigan, the least penalized team in the nation. 2.8 penalties per game at the half. 5 penalties for 54 yards. Coming up next here on Fox, 5-0. Number 18 UCLA, Reggie Bush's new favorite team, hosts number 11 Utah. Massive Pac-12 South showdown coming up 3:30 Eastern right here on Fox. Let's head to Lawrence and the FS1 matchup between unbeaten's Kansas and TCU. Second quarter, Kendrick Miller, 1 yard out. 10-0 game, just like that. Major moment here. Jalen Daniels escapes the pocket. He's sacked. He would leave the game.
He was trying to do too much, man, scrambling there, and obviously landed on his shoulder wrong and maybe sprained AC joint. I'm not sure. It looked bad, though.
So Jason Bean comes in, and he finds Mason Fairchild here in the third. We're tied up at 10.
He's very capable. He can run that offense well.
How about the start for Tennessee at LSU? This is how you start a game if you're Tennessee, not so much LSU. Coughing up the opening kickoff. Ensuing drive will be Jabari Smith running it in from 1 yard out. Just like that, 7-0 Tennessee. Hendon Hooker for Heisman, 11 of 19, 153, and this touchdown.
How about this to Jalen Hyatt? They've been connecting all year long. Brew McCoy also in this game. Making his way to New York, fellas, I'm telling you.
Matt Leinart, he's back.
I'll tell you what, he's back, and he got off to a great start here in the first half.
Sooners on 4th and 1. Eric Gray denied. Longhorns take over on downs. Still 7-0 game, second quarter. Quinn Ewers, 16 of 23, 211, 3 touchdowns so far.
Yeah, and last time we saw him, obviously, remember the Alabama game, he got hurt, but he was on fire. Kind of picks up where he left off, and a ton of great weapons on this Texas offense. Up big so far in the second half.
Oklahoma, 2 turnovers, just 189 yards of offense. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Bulldogs up 7-0. Let's make it 14-0. Jaden Wiley, the touchdown grab.
Slinging Willie Rogers.
Tell you what, you can put him in New York, too, with the numbers he has, and they're winning games.
Rogers right now, 19 of 30, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
No pass rush.
21-10. Mizzou on the road in Gainesville, coach Brady Cook. Picked off by Jaden Hill. Returns at 49 yards for the pick 6.
They left it all on the field last week against Georgia.
Yeah, well, tight ball game, though. Florida's still struggling to move the football consistently on offense.
Cody Schrader's going to bounce this one outside. 10-10 game. Over on Big Ten Network, Maryland hosting Purdue. Elia Tungaviola to Corey Dychotz. Wide open.
Talk about 2 high-powered passing offenses going back and forth up and down the field so far.
17-17. A lot of ties around the nation at this point. All right, big noon kickoff back on the road next week. I'll give you one guess where we're going. We knew this one a long time ago, didn't we? Top 10 showdown between unbeatens for now. Penn State at Michigan next Saturday. Yeah, Charles Woodson will be back.
Is Seawood going to be there?
We need Charles.
You know what to bring.
He only comes with a home
You know
game.
what to bring, Seawood, next week. Bring it, my friend. Bring it. Well, 3 winners split $1 million of Terry Bradshaw's money last week playing the Fox Bet Super 6, and now you have a chance at $100,000 tomorrow. Just get the free Fox Bet Super 6 app on your phone and enter your picks in the NFL Sunday Challenge. All it takes is 6 correct picks to win big. Well, aside from Blake Corum's 50-yard run on the opening drive, he has 9 carries for 10 yards. The IUD, a major unexpected player in this one. 10-10 at the half in Bloomington. Second half from homecoming Saturday here at Indiana University on the backside.
Fox Monday.
We have a positive sponsored by AT&T Business. Our score at halftime. How about this? Indiana, Michigan, level at 10 as we start the second half. Gus Johnson along with my quarterback, Joel Klatt. How about this?
Yeah.
10-10. We talked about it at the top of the telecast.
You
folks.
said it right off the top.
Don't eat the cheese. And I'm smelling some Munster, some provolone.
I was going to say, they
some
gobbled
American.
it up. They gobbled it up in that second quarter because really, for Michigan, they had one offensive play that was really good. And outside of that, they have not been very effective, running the football in particular. And I think Indiana has done a sensational job defensively. Let's take a look at our second half connection, sponsored by AT&T Business. AT&T 5G, fast, reliable, secure. This is that play I was talking about. First run chance for Blake Corum. There's 4 Indiana players swarming him, and he dips out of it, and he gets loose down the right side of the field, and he would wind up down at the 1-yard line, and the next play he would take it in for a 1-yard rushing touchdown. It looked like, okay, well, you know, it's going to be a big Michigan day. Well, not so fast, because Indiana came roaring back. Really solid offensive game plan from Walt Bell, their offensive coordinator. They got it tied up, and then a couple of blocked field goals. How about that? Kind of a wacky ending to those 2 possessions. First, it was James Head. He gets the block for Indiana. Then it's Mike Morris. He gets the block for Michigan. And we're level at 10, and Michigan is in for some serious trouble here in the second half because they have to find the ability to move the ball with their offense. They have just not done it ever since that first long run for Blake Corum. Meanwhile, on the other side, Indiana found some rhythm, Gus, offensively, and Connor Bazelak throwing the ball on the outside. They did a really nice job, 163 passing yards so far in that first half.
So Indiana will get the ball to start the second half. Connor Bazelak, very solid, very efficient for this Hoosier football team, taking on the 4th-ranked team in the country. Look at those numbers. 18-31, 163, a touchdown. He did throw a pick. He'll get a chance to start quickly as the second half begins from Memorial Stadium here in Bloomington, Indiana. Jake Moody will send it away. Jalen Lucas back deep, and Lucas allows it to go over his head for a touchback. Let's go downstairs and check in with Jen.
Well, Coach Harbaugh just told me as he was walking out that the team did hear from Mike Hart in the locker room. He wanted to tell them that he's doing okay. He's with them in spirit. He didn't want them to be thinking about him right now, and Coach Harbaugh didn't shy away from the fact that it has been emotional for the team. He said right now the message is win this for Coach Hart, and 10-10 at the half for India. No doubt Coach Allen was pleased with what he's seeing specifically on defense. Keep them off balance, swarm the run. He said, my guys are fighters. I'm proud of them. We're not done.
First down at the 25. How about Shivers? Nice run. He gets up to the 40-yard line, gains 14. Makari Page with the tackle. And this Indiana team, Joel, has been able to run it on Michigan today.
They have, and it's partly because Michigan, has had to commit so many resources to that outside wide receiver screen game.
They'll run it again. Shivers jitterbugging. Mozzie Smith with the tackle. He gains 3.
You know, this is that widespread offense that you get these wide receivers. They're lined up way outside the numbers a lot of times, and it makes you defend the entire width of the field as a defense.
Bazelak over the middle as he checked it down. They'll gain a few this time. It's Emery Simmons, Junior Colson with the tackle. Some people feel Junior Colson has a chance to be a first-round pick.
You know, eventually, and he's not going to be draft eligible this year, but after next year, and if he's continues on this trajectory with his speed, his ability to tackle in space, his aggressiveness, he could certainly wind up that way.
3rd down and 3. Indiana looking for the first, and no, have it. Nice run after the catch. How about that? Jalen Lucas, fast feet. Needed 3, he got 5.
Boy, isn't he elusive? And you can see exactly why they've been talking about for weeks now, trying to get him the ball more often, and they've done it today.
1st down at the 47-yard line. Empty backfield. Bazelak in trouble, and he'll go down at the 40. How about Junior Colson? We just mentioned his name, and he comes up with the sack, a loss of 10.
Yeah, he's just going to come and look at this design here. That he's going to follow Mike Morris, and so you basically double up on the tackle. The tackle needs to adjust that, try to recruit that guard in with him because they just doubled up on the outside.
So that brings up 2nd down and 20. They hand it off to Shivers. And he'll gain a couple. Chris Jenkins with the stop.
This Indiana team, they've got to stay away from that drop-back passing game because the pass rush has been dominant for Michigan. What they need to continue to do is the run game and then the outside wide receiver screens. You can't do that in long yardage situations like this, so you got to be careful. You don't want to expose Bazelak to too many hits, and this is the type of scenario where that could happen.
Connor Bazelak from Dayton, Ohio, over the middle, and it's dropped. Jalen Lucas took his eyes off the ball momentarily. And that brings up 4th and 17. Hoosiers empty on their first series here in the second half.
I tell you, they had the matchup that they needed for that long yardage situation. A true freshman, Jimmy Rolder, was in at linebacker, and he was in man coverage against Jalen Lucas, who has shown some serious burst today, and he just dropped it.
James Evans will punt it away from the 31. Flag on the play. A.J. Henning signaling for the fair catch. Lets it go over his head and into the end zone for a touchback. But hold on, let's see what the flag has in store.
Offside. Defense, number 6. 5-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Well, certainly choose to re-kick it after that ball went into the end zone. Try to pin this Michigan offense inside the 20.
Evans. Lets it take a bounce. Rolls all the way down inside the 2-yard line. Terrific job by James Evans. A 48-yard punt. Michigan backed up in their own end as they start their first drive of the second half. Today's game is featured on the free-to-play Fox Bet Super 6 app. One of the questions in the contest is, how many total points will be scored in the game? And so far, we got 20. Low-scoring affair. Michigan came into this game favored by 22. 1st and 10 at the 2-yard line for J.J. McCarthy and the Wolverine offense. And a flag.
False start. Offense, number 2. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 1st down.
Just been a sloppy game. That's the 7th penalty on Michigan. They came in as really the least penalized team in the country, averaging just under 3 penalties per game. Today, 7 already for 60.
1st and 11. Corum trying to give him some space. As he leans forward and picks up 3 yards, Aaron Casey with the stop in the middle.
Well, it's hard with this field position to make the adjustments that you want to make from half, but I'm with the guys, during halftime, and Brady said it just about trying to take the shots down the field. I think that they've got to start opening up this passing game and trying to get behind this Indiana defense. Look how tight to the line of scrimmage this Indiana team and their safeties are playing.
2nd down and 8. McCarthy opens it up here. Oh, a drop ball by Cornelius Johnson.
Can't throw it better than that. McCarthy had the protection from the offensive line. Good route from Cornelius Johnson, and this is just a flat drop. Probably hasn't dropped the ball like that since he was in junior high, and just took his eyes off it, and now a great opportunity. Indiana has done a great job, Gus, on 3rd down of sending extra pressure and trying to get in the backfield and disrupt the timing of the Michigan offense. It looks like they're going to be trying to do that again.
3rd down and 8 at the 4 for McCarthy. Here's JJ out of his own end zone. Underneath, caught. Ronnie Bell, 1st down. That's a 13-yard gain on 3rd and 8.
Well, when you're struggling on offense, you got to go to your most reliable players, and Ronnie Bell is certainly one of the most reliable Wolverines. Nice run after the catch there. Good protection by the offensive line, and McCarthy and Ronnie Bell are able to move the chains.
Ronnie Bell, 6 catches, 73 yards. He came into this game with 19 catches on the season, 1st and 10 of the 18. Here's Bell on the hitch. Tried to break free, and he is chopped down at the 21. Bryant Fitzgerald and Brylan Lanier combining on the tackle.
Now you get into kind of the normal down and distance and the adjustments from half. This defense did a great job stopping the run. The resources, they're committing those safeties down low. Guys like 31 Bryant Fitzgerald. And so what this Michigan team is going to have to do is take some shots over the top in the second half.
2nd and 6 at the 22. McCarthy guns it over the middle. Nice throw. Andrell Anthony. Well, we haven't been calling his name a lot this season. He picks up 17 there. Fitzgerald with the tackle. Remember, he had a big breakout game last year in East Lansing against Michigan State.
I mean, a huge game that day against Michigan State. 6 catches, 155 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and really hasn't done much since. Kind of no more than 1 catch in any game since then.
On 1st down, Corum breaking tackles, churning his legs. Look at the little man go. Blake Corum gains 18 yards on that run.
And you see what that passing game did. No run game success for the majority of the first half. Then they complete some passes, and then it starts to open up for the run game.
1st down and 10 at the 43. McCarthy hands it off to Corum again. He'll hop through the hole, push the pile forward, and gain 3 yards.
And I got to imagine that was as emotional a halftime as these players have ever had. In particular, a guy like Blake Corum, guys like Donovan Edwards, who's now in the game as Corum heads off to the sideline. Can you imagine your leader, your mentor, I mean, these position coaches become like your father figure, Gus, and then all of a sudden he's not there at halftime. The emotions that these guys went through over the course of that 20 minutes, I can hardly imagine.
2nd down and 7 at the 40-yard line. McCarthy winds up, looking deep. Can he get it there? Incomplete. Had a little more air under that football. Ronnie Bell, you can see that he's been practicing that, Joel.
Yeah, but the coverage was great, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Tywan Mullen out there in coverage number 3, and Ronnie Bell is trying to get past him, and Mullen was just with him step for step. But you're right. McCarthy had been missing those deep passes because
you see that the tip of that football coming down, Joel? I think he was listening to you.
It was starting to come down. He was driving them too flat in previous weeks. That one he tried to put a little bit more air on. That's what he needs to do.
9th play of the drive. 3rd down and 7. J.J. McCarthy steps up in the pocket, wants to run it, tries to get outside, and a 1st down, Michigan, using his legs.
Boy, good vision from McCarthy. As the left side of the field cleared out, McCarthy saw an opening and decisively took off. Watch this left side. You got man coverage over there, and they all follow those Wolverines. And now McCarthy sees the green grass or turf, whatever. And McCarthy takes off for the sticks and moves the chains.
First down and 10, Michigan. McCarthy handing it to Corum. He tries to cut it back. Bottled up and taken down. Bradley Jennings with the stop, a 1-yard gain.
You know what's interesting is that I think generally play callers feel like they have to have run game success in order to throw play action. But the fact of the matter is that Indiana is so committed to stopping the run that I think play action, even without run game success, would probably work. Thus, because they are so fast coming up to the line of scrimmage and trying to stop Blake Corum, fully committed.
Second down and 9 at the Indiana 30 for Michigan. McCarthy in trouble. Rolls out. Delivers. Cornelius Johnson driving. Cornelius Johnson diving. Touchdown, Michigan. Cornelius Johnson made that play himself.
Well, this was the dive at the end. A little juke move, stays inbounds, and then extends clearly inside the pylon and over the goal line. What a great run. And he didn't drop that one, did he? A drop earlier in the series, and you knew he would corral that one and took off. Makes amends for that drop earlier in the series. Beautiful play.
So Michigan scores on their first series of the second half, going 11 plays, covering 98 yards. Jake Moody in for the extra point. And it's good. 17-10. Michigan. Hoosiers defense been playing well all day. However, this time Cornelius Johnson and the Wolverines find a way. The Fall Classic, the National League Division Series, begins Tuesday only on Fox and FS1. Take a look at the scoring drive. Cornelius Johnson with the big payoff, 29-yard TD reception, 11 plays, 98 yards.
And really the best rhythm they had all day by far.
Second touchdown reception of the year for Cornelius Johnson.
So they get an opening possession of the game they scored, and then opening possession of the second half they score. See if they can sustain it.
Jaden Lucas lets it go into the end zone. We'll go to break. Coming up, Indiana's offense on the field right after this. Your home and car with Progressive. And by Uber One, join to save on rides and eats. 17-10, our score. Michigan, the number 4 ranked team in the country, undefeated at 5-0, 7-point lead. Indiana is giving them a run for their money. Here's Henderson as he catches the hitch and gets it upfield to the 30-yard line.
I would just force them to stop that, right? These wide receiver screens, that's where most of their successes come, and that's what keeps the pass rush off of Bazelak.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Bazelak winds up over the middle, incomplete. Simmons, the intended receiver, Sainristil. Remember, Mike Sainristil is a wide receiver that's playing defense for the first time this year.
But the way he plays now, clearly he used to be a wide receiver that should have been a defensive back.
He should have been. He's playing like an all Big Ten first teamer. Bazelak outside and caught as they drive Kobe out of bounds. Will John, but Kobe hangs on, makes the reception.
Really good coverage from Will Johnson. Will Johnson's a true freshman. His father, Dion, 3 Big Ten titles as a DB for Michigan. He was a 5-star corner. You maize and blue faithful, you know exactly who Will Johnson is. And this guy is a really good player and a young player, and getting in a big spot here and a good stop.
James Evans punting inside the 20. A.J. Henning will wait for it at the 21 of his own. Here's Henning camping under it. He'll get a shot. Henning tries to get outside with a lane. Does get outside. Hits the sideline. Henning out of bounds at midfield. Wonderful run for A.J. Henning. And a flag on the play. This may be a late hit. 50-yard punt, 28-yard return, and they may tack on another 15.
Well, Michigan is a really tough matchup because they're really good in the special teams, and part of that is their ability to return with Henning. We've already seen him have a return for a touchdown this season, and this is a good one here.
Head to the play. Personal foul. Late hit. Number 55. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Here's Henning as he's heading out of bounds, clearly out, and then the contact there. Even though they're not trying to contact, there is clearly contact. And now, Gus, this ball is pushed all the way inside the 35-yard line. You can't have a more drastic opposite. Last series starts at their own 2, now all the way in Indiana territory.
First down and 10 at the 33. Corum in the backfield for Michigan. McCarthy throws it. This is Ronnie Bell. He gains 6 yards on the play.
You know what's interesting about this Michigan offense?
What?
When they motion is when they generally run the ball. And when they stay static and they don't motion, they throw it. But I think that's what gives their passing game is just stale a lot of times. And I think a lot of that is that they don't move their formation and they don't create leverage with their formation and their movement in order to create space in the back end.
So that means they're going to run it right here.
Well, I mean, again, these are generalizations, but there's a handoff after a motion.
Corum. Now, you know Penn State, James Franklin is watching every second of this game. Hi, James. How are you, Coach?
James, how we doing?
So is Manny Diaz, their defensive coordinator.
And I'm sure I'm going to be getting, you know, all sorts of hateful messages. There's Sharon Moore, co-offensive coordinator for Michigan. He, along with Matt Weiss, call these plays. And these two are getting their feet wet. Now on a third down, it's a big moment here because Indiana on their heels after giving up a touchdown in the previous series and now trying to force a kicking opportunity.
Third down and 2. McCarthy. No motion coming up here. Let's see if they throw it. They don't. They run it. And they'll pick up a first down at the 20.
Good push by that offensive line there, wasn't it?
Yep. 5-yard gain.
You know, and every tendency can be broken. And obviously watching, there's never in football, always, you know, that you want everything to be 100%, but you've got to lean on tendencies, and you look at percentages, and you look at, hey, out of this set and out of this motion, they run it 80-85% of the time.
First down and 10 at the Indiana 20. There's a power game, and Corum stood up, driven backwards, gains 2 yards. Alfred Bryant with the stop.
They've just done a great job up front, haven't they, Indiana?
I think this defense has been wonderful today for IU.
They really have, and I love the plan. You know, they've got a new coordinator in Chad Wilt, but Tom Allen obviously calling the defense. Chad Wilt comes in. He was the defensive line coach at Minnesota, and now he's here in Indiana. And one of the things that they were confident in yesterday is the fact that they moved their line a lot, and they slant them into opposite gaps, and I think that's given Michigan a lot of problems.
Second down and 8. McCarthy delivers. Intercepted in the end zone. Matthews. And that's the first interception for J.J. McCarthy this season. Devon Matthews plucks it out of the air.
Matthews gets the pick, but a huge assist to Bradley Jennings, the linebacker. Bradley Jennings is the one carrying to the inside. He's number 5, and he's the one that initially gets this and contests the catch, and then it's tipped up in the air, and Matthews is there for the interception in the end zone. That is great coverage on the underneath from the linebacker, Bradley Jennings. He's a transfer from Miami. He came in this year, and Jim Harbaugh knows that his quarterback tried to force it over the middle.
On first down, and this one, busted play, which forces Bazelak to just throw it out of bounds.
But again, that pass play, Gus, just a static formation, you know, and there's no play action, there's no movement, and there's no conflict on the defender. You know, the second level, the third level, those players have got to feel conflict, and their Jennings certainly didn't.
Bazelak again, this time throws under pressure. Flag on the play. Michigan, just a sloppy game all around today. Penalties.
Well, this
missed assignments.
They're going to get a roughing the passer here, and I'll be real honest. I think this is born out of just the quantity of times, and there's a flag on the sideline as well as Turner had the contact, putting his arms up. So multiple fouls here, probably all on Michigan.
8th penalty for Michigan, 75 yards. And as you mentioned, Joel, they came in here averaging only 3.
There's 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Pass interference, defense number 5. That penalty is declined. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 17. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic, first down.
Now here's the back end. He's going to get sandwiched. Speaking of Bazelak, and I think what they're going to get here is, I don't know. I mean, I get it. He's been hit a lot, but then he kind of hits the ground. Maybe they get him for throwing him down to the ground. I'm not sure. This officiating crew has really struggled today, and I think that call, more than anything, was born out of the amount of times Bazelak has been hit.
Well, first down, Jalen Lucas. Mozzie Smith there after the 2-yard gain.
Lucas is certainly a dynamic player, and I love Indiana's thought process, just trying to get him touches.
2nd and 8. Bazelak steps up in the pocket over the middle, caught, and a first down for the Hoosiers. Emory Simmons. Simmons has been solid today.
Yep, he sure has. That's, I believe, his 7th catch already, over 50 yards, and moves the chains again.
From the 47, first down, empty backfield for Bazelak.
False start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Parker Hanna, the right tackle. First and 15. And they'll hand it off to Lucas. And he'll be lucky to get a yard. Chris Jenkins. Those guys in the middle, Mozzie Smith and Chris Jenkins. Mike Morris on the end. We're doing a really nice job this season for Jim Harbaugh. 2nd and 14 at the 43. Bazelak. Seam route. Caught. No, incomplete. Dropped at the last moment. Holt Bennett couldn't hold on. That's because DJ Turner just punched it loose.
Holt Bennett was in the slot trying to get right up the seam, and actually Turner comes from the outside from his corner position, falls off of his route, and he's there to make the play.
3rd down and 14. Big play here for Indiana. Bazelak in trouble, and he'll launch it out of bounds and live to fight another day.
You know, but they did get a couple of first downs, and offensively for Indiana, you know, certainly you'd like to move the sticks, but as soon as they have a negative play or a penalty like they did with the false start, it becomes very difficult because of that pass rush.
That's right. Chris Jenkins, Mike Morris, Junior Colson, all putting pressure on Connor Bazelak. And that will force James Evans to punt it away once again. Got a toe into it. A.J. Henning had a nice return the last time. Let this one go over his head. Oh, that ball just dies inside the 5. What a kick. 52 yards. So, Indiana pinning Michigan deep. Wolverines get the football. They have the lead, 17-10. We'll take on Michigan in the Big House. Joel, Jenny, and I will be joined by Rob, Brady, Reggie, Matt, and Coach Meyer. It all starts at 10 a.m. Eastern with big noon kickoff only on Fox. Do you think this Michigan team's looking a little further ahead as they come into this game today, Joel?
Well, they certainly have not played their best. I think that is clear. And I think the guy that's the only non-Indiana fan that is loving this the most is James Franklin. Thinking, take him 4 quarters, take him into deep water. And that's certainly where Michigan seems to be right now as the clock is ticking down late in the 3rd quarter.
Penn State has a bye this week, folks, so they're sitting home watching this game right now. 2nd and 8. McCarthy over the middle, caught. Put some hot sauce on that ball. Andrel Anthony, 2nd catch of the day, gain of 15.
We've seen this concept now twice in back-to-back series, and watch as Anthony is just going to come in. He's going to try to exploit this zone from the outside. See as he's going to hook up right there, and he just hooks up. McCarthy finds him, and it takes patience because he's not the primary target in the progression. Okay, so it takes patience from the quarterback and also time from the offensive line.
McCarthy 19 of 27, 215. 1st and 10 of the 22. Corum. And Corum gang tackled for a loss. A 2-yard loss. And that Indiana defense led by Deshaun McCullough and Miles Jackson drops it.
I want you to see how fast this team is flowing to the football. Watch these linebackers and safeties. They are up quickly. This is why I'm saying you got to get some movement in the set, get a play action, and get the safety down, and then take the shot over the top.
2nd down and 12 at the 20-yard line.
You can't allow a defense, Gus, to play that heavy downhill.
Now McCarthy under center, and there's some movement. Zach Zinter, the right guard, moved. 9th penalty of the day for the Wolverines. If it's against Michigan.
False start. Offense, 65. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I think he came out of his stance because he thought Patrick Lucas, number 51 for Indiana, jumped offside, but Lucas never went into the neutral zone. Watch 51. See how he just flinches? And then Zinter comes out of his stance and then starts pointing like, oh, it's him, it's him. But he can't come out of his stance until the defender enters the neutral zone. And now the clock will hit 0 in the 3rd quarter, Gus. And here we go. Michigan in a 1-possession game in the 4th quarter.
Michigan, they got 7 in the 3rd quarter to take a 17-10 advantage. 2nd and 17 at the 15 now for the Wolverines.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Oluwatimi is the center. Yep, little flinch. Slight rock back in his stance. And now 10 penalties for 85 yards for the Wolverines.
McCarthy. Here comes pressure. He gets it away, and it is. They're going to give him a catch. It's Cornelius Johnson. And I'm not sure from my side, he may have trapped that football. Wow, he caught it with one hand.
Goodness, he got that left hand underneath it, didn't he? That's a tremendous catch. Blown protection up front. McCarthy had to deal with a free rusher. James Head came in with the pressure, and now 3rd and long.
Third down and 11. McCarthy bouncing around, buying time. McCarthy looking, winds up, caught. Ronnie Bell, does he get the first down? No, he doesn't. Out of bounds and around the 31.
Well, this was a great individual effort from McCarthy, first and foremost, just to get himself in a position to throw the ball. And then here's Ronnie Bell, and he needs to get all the way up. And you see that right foot went out of bounds just a yard short of where he needed to go. He needed to go to the 32-yard line. He was trying to extend that ball in his right hand. I don't think the officials saw him do that, but his right foot certainly a yard short, and Michigan will have to punt.
Connor Delp, the return man for IU at the 25, as Brad Robbins punts it away from the 16. Robbins, beautiful punt this time. Delp backpedaling, has it at the 10. And Delp thrown down as he gets close to the 20, a 57-yard punt and a 7-yard return. So coming up with a score, 17-10. Hoosiers back on offense. Let's see what they can do.
Pacific Life Game Summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. Well, the opening drive has been good to Michigan in both halves. Touchdowns on their opening drive of the game, then the opening drive of the third quarter. It was blocked field goals from both teams that kept it at 10-10 going into the break. But the pressure from this Michigan defense has been constant. That defensive line has done a heck of a job.
Bazelak will just let it fly into the end zone. I mean, into the stands, rather. Under pressure again.
Well, they have not had Cam Camper out there. He has been going back and getting fluids. Looks like Cam is back on the field. I believe that's number 6 out there on the far side. And so we'll see how effective he's been. There he is. Cam Camper been in and out of the lineup today, trying to get some fluids earlier in the game. And so here he is.
Second down and 10. Bazelak looking. And they just dump it at the feet of the receiver. Mike Morris in his face. Brings up third and long.
Tell you what, Mason Graham, 55. Every game, I'm more and more impressed with him at defensive line. And he's the one that stopped that screen. He's the one that forces now this third down opportunity. And this has been a precarious spot for Indiana. This pass rush has gotten home several times today against Connor Bazelak, and really the guy who is most confident rushing the quarterback right now is at the top of your screen in the rush, Mike Morris. But Indiana is going to want to talk this over, and they'll take a timeout.
17-10 our score.
Check from State Farm.
Welcome back. 17-10 Michigan leading Indiana here in the fourth quarter.
This pressure on Connor Bazelak has been constant all day long. You look at this one, they've had to drop back and pass. These Wolverines have been all over them, and it's been any number of players. Second level, Junior Colson, Mike Morris, and here they are again in a third and long. And Mike Morris, here he is at the top of your rush. That's the one to watch out for.
Here's Bazelak, and he'll be sacked again. Wow, this Michigan defense. This time it's Oki. Mozzie Smith there as well.
I get a feeling about this Yabi Oki. He's the type of guy that could very easily wind up with close to double-digit sacks by the end of the year. He got to camp late after his transfer, right? He's at several places. He gets to Michigan, feels at home, but he only had a couple of weeks of practice before the first game, and now he's starting to get his feet wet. He's getting on the field a lot more, in particular starting last week. He had 29 snaps last week, and this
reminds you of David Ajabo, who kind of came out of nowhere last year.
It's exactly right. You know, he was really unheralded before the year and then became what I thought was going to be a first-round pick until the Achilles injury. 22 pressures, 5 sacks. This team is getting after the quarterback. That's really been the one constant today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Of the entire game, either side, the one constant has been Michigan's ability to pressure the quarterback.
And an injured Hoosier on the field. That's Khalil Benson. So 4 straight punts for Indiana. Hokie with a big game last week against Iowa in Iowa City.
And when you can start to couple pass rushers, that's when it gets dynamic. You know, when you got guys like, you can put Mike Morris on one side or Jalen Harrell on one side, you can double it up with Okie on the other, or even put them on the same side. That's when you can really cause trouble.
James Evans sends it away to Henning. Henning with it at the 44. Makes one man miss and crosses the 45 up to about the 48-yard line. Let's check in with Jenny.
Well, there's a special new tradition at Indiana. Linebacker Aaron Casey is the first player to wear number 44. That's in honor of the late George Taliaferro, the 3-time All-American at Indiana and the first black player drafted by an NFL team. And this is quite an honor. And his daughters were actually here today as honorary captains. You know, Casey told us that he was just so excited to tell his mom about this. He said, I do it with so much pride, what I do for this team. And even Coach Allen said he has a special spirit about him, a selfless leader, the perfect guy to represent.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Here's McCarthy. Low throw. Schoonmaker says he got it, but they say incomplete. He dug it out of the turf.
You know, just to back that up, what Jenny was talking about there, Aaron Casey has been outstanding today. A big reason why Michigan has been unable to sustain success on the ground in the run game is because of Aaron Casey. He's without his running mate, Cam Jones. So the coaches told us, he told us that his game had to go to the next level, and it has. And the senior from Eaglesville, Georgia, has played probably his best game of his career.
Casey wearing George Taliaferro's number 44. Taliaferro was a running back and a quarterback. So they're looking at this play to see if it was a catch or not.
So you would need to get those hands under the ball.
Looked like a catch to me.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I thought it was the correct call in real time. But, you know, that ball, boy, it looks like it might be on top of his hand, doesn't it?
Yes.
Boy, we've seen this a couple of times. On the last series, Cornelius Johnson had an unbelievable one-handed catch, got that glove under the ball, between the ball and the turf, and there it looks like Schoonmaker does the same. Schoonmaker having to really step his game up now with Eric All being out of the lineup. Schoonmaker has become a real favorite target for J.J. McCarthy. In fact, he's been the most productive receiver for Michigan over the last couple of games. There's another look.
Oh, there's it is on the ground there, I think, though.
Could be.
Did you see that?
And again, call on the field, incomplete. So if there's any indecision or they can't get a clean look, it's a tough one. That leg is just right in the way.
So close.
Yeah, really is. I would probably just stick with call on the field. If it would have been ruled complete, I'd probably stick with it. If you know, that left hand, it did look like it was under.
It was in his palm.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they reverse this one.
Luke Schoonmaker.
After further review, it has been determined that it was a reception. The ball's at the 41-yard line, 1st and 10 for Michigan.
So they'll give it to him. 15-yard gain. Tied his career high with 5 catches for 108 against the Hoosiers last year in Ann Arbor. Last time he saw this stadium in 2020, he had 4 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. First down and 10 of the 41 for Michigan. McCarthy Sideline throw. Schoonmaker again, he'll dive forward. Get to the 35. Casey with the stop, 6-yard gain.
You give Michigan a little credit because even without a dominant run game, they've been able to find a little success here in the second half. A couple of series, finding some rhythm in the passing game. J.J. McCarthy doing a nice job bouncing back from that interception earlier.
2nd and 4. Corum picks up a first down. Late Corum closing in on 100 yards rushing, averaging 5 yards per carry.
And it hasn't felt like that, and it's because the bulk of that came on that one rush. So he basically got half his yards on one carry to start the game, and since then it has been a real struggle.
20 carries, 100 yards for Corum, and a touchdown.
It'll look good on the stat sheet. As we know, it was really tough sledding for Blake over the course of the last 3 quarters.
First down and 10 at the 29. Corum. Ooh. As Bill Raftery would say, lingerie on the deck with this play.
Yes, he would. And it's one of those plays where you're like, man, do I really want to be in this position right here? Boom. Just gives a great outside move to Devon Matthews. You know, part of this run game, what they do such a good job of is they isolate those support defenders. And Corum is in one-on-one position with a lot of those guys a lot of the time.
2nd down and 4. Corum again dragging defenders. Now Michigan starting to lean on this Indiana defense with their running game. Christopher Keys with the tackle.
And what I love about him is that he can bounce. Watch his vision. So he gets in the interior and then boom, he's outside immediately, and he can really impact the defense. Watch his eyes, the vision and patience of a running back, and in particular a great one. He just allows the blocks to develop, finds the open space, and then explodes to that area.
You see great running backs like Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. They could get to the line of scrimmage and take that big hop and then go where they wanted to go.
Yeah, and they press the line of scrimmage. You know what that does? It gets the linebackers to commit. So Gus, he gets all the way near the line of scrimmage and then takes that little breath, that little beat. Linebacker commits, and then he's just gone. Whew. Linebacker is tackling air. This is the day for Blake Corum. Unbelievable run on that first carry. Took it about 50 yards down the 1-yard line, then took it in on the next snap. That was his 11th rushing touchdown on the season. And ever since then, it's been tough going. And he has run physical. But on this series, things have opened up. And they've been leaning on this defense enough today and softened him enough where he's found some space in this run game. And when they've needed it most here late in the 4th quarter, he's been pretty good.
Last 4 carries for Corum. 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards, 9. They'll give it to him again. And he'll spin. He dropped inside the 10. Blake Corum picks up 5 there.
A tough physical runner and an offensive line that can be physical for 4 quarters. What ends up happening is that you get inside of that 10-minute mark of the 4th quarter, and when you need it most, it's like a great closer in baseball. As we enter October here with postseason baseball, you see a great closer come out of the bullpen. That's what like a great physical run game is in the 4th quarter.
2nd down and 5 at the 9. Schoonmaker motions. And they find Schoonmaker. First down. Dives. Touchdown, Michigan. Luke Schoonmaker.
Well, Schoonmaker's going to get the touchdown, but how about an assist to Ronnie Bell? Watch Ronnie Bell's block on the outside, number 8. Boom. And then just the stickiness, and he's able to just get that block of Devon Matthews, and that's what allows Schoonmaker to head into the end zone, and no one jumped higher in celebration than number 8. That's leadership, folks, on the outside, unselfish play, and Michigan takes a 2-touchdown lead.
And we talked to the offensive coaches a couple of weeks ago. in Ann Arbor, and they told us that this wide receiver core is so excited to block downfield.
Did you see him jump after the play? I mean, so there's the block from Ronnie Bell, and then he's going to jump for the pylon and extend it. When he hits the pylon, that ball is right over his right hip.
Wheeling on the field is a touchdown. Schoonmaker with a new career high, his 8th catch of the game. In the meantime, let's go to Mike Pereira. Mike, after you looked at what has been called a touchdown, what are your thoughts?
I like it as a touchdown because really you're talking about an airborne player.
After further
now.
review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Go ahead, Mike.
And
Complete
again,
your
you're
thought.
looking at the issue here. Look where he's out of bounds. It's right when the body touches the pylon. That ends the play. So you look at the position of where the ball is when his left hip is at the on the pylon, and to me, play over at that point. Ball has broken the plane. I think that's a touchdown.
All right, thank you very much. Here's Jake Moody for the extra point. And it's good. Michigan taking a 24-10 lead with 9:43 to play in the 4th quarter. Can the Wolverines hold on and get to Penn State at home next week? (24-10) Michigan. That Michigan defense starting to take over and make plays here in Bloomington. J.J. McCarthy and Schoonmaker hooking up. Schoonmaker and Bell, 17 catches for 156 yards and a touchdown. New career highs, 8 catches for Schoonmaker. Bell ties his career high with 9 catches.
We're going against a defense that's given up a lot of yardage in the passing game. 118th in college football in pass defense. This Indiana team certainly gotten it on the board.
Here's Lucas, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 21-yard line.
This Indiana offense, they play with the correct pace to come back from a couple of scores. But what they've got to do is avoid drop back pass. Now you might think to yourself, well, I mean, don't they have to drop back pass? Not necessarily. If they play with the pace that they did in the first half, what they need to do is get the ball on the edge as quickly as possible. The wide receiver screens were what's been most effective for them, and they need to do that in particular on first down to avoid 2nd and long.
First down at the 21. Hazelack underneath, and it's broken up by Sainristil. Cam Camper the target.
I love Sainristil's game.
So do I.
I got to tell you, I think this guy is playing himself into a really bright future at the next level as a nickelback. He is a natural defender. He's got great ball skills. They think he's probably the best outside corner, but he's so versatile that he plays in the slot.
And he's so talented. He's like a renaissance man, Mike Sainristil. And that one's incomplete. Let me tell you about Mike Sainristil, number 0. Well, you know he left playing wide receiver this year to play defensive back. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Massachusetts in 2018. He was born in Haiti. He also speaks Creole. He's a versatile musician, too. He plays the violin, the piano, the drums, and he sings in the church choir.
And now he's in man-to-man coverage on 3rd down.
Mike Sainristil. Hazelack in trouble and swarmed under again. Derek Moore, Jalen Harrell. Another sack for Michigan. Number 6 today. Loss of 11.
Just cannot drop back pass against this team. At least Indiana can't. And here comes a true freshman, very talented player, Derek Moore. Good win on the outside. This guy was an Under Armour All-American, excuse me. A 4-star player comes in. He was the 49th best player in the country in last year's recruiting class. From Baltimore, played his high school ball at St. Francis.
Evans sends it away. And good special teams coverage by Indiana as they wrap up the receiver at the 40-yard line. A.J. Henning trying to create some space. Fourth quarter. Michigan defense with 6 sacks. (24-10) Michigan with the football. Here's McCarthy rolling out of the pocket, throws on the move, and it's a catch. Ronnie Bell again. Ronnie Bell's had a big game.
Yep.
That's his 10th catch today.
But I know that this is nerdy of me. You know what I've loved best is his effort on the outside blocking. You know, clearly his productivity has been fantastic today, and there he is now, double-digit catches, over 100 yards. But just the unselfishness, which really becomes the leadership. When your team can see the seniors, the most productive players, doing the dirty things, the things nobody wants to do, like block on the outside, that's when you got something going.
J.J. McCarthy closing in on a 300-yard game. Bell, prior to that pass, McCarthy was 25 of 33, 287. He gained 6 there.
Gotta hand it to Michigan because, for a large part of this game, it wasn't clicking, right? I mean, they didn't have the rhythm. They didn't have the benefit of being able to just hand the ball off and run the ball. And they found it, though. And now you look at this half, the total yards, 234 yards to 21 for Indiana.
2nd down and 4. Edwards. No, make that McCarthy. And McCarthy spins late and gets clobbered. Picks up the 1st down, but he's got to be careful.
Exactly. That is just not what you want to see at all. And you certainly don't want to see him spinning out there, in particular back to the inside. Watch him spin back to the inside and just get ripped right in the chest. McCarthy was just a little slow getting up. Bang. Good pursuit by Bradley
Jennings. Attendance today, 50,085. Good crowd here in Bloomington. 1st and 10 at the 28. Edwards. 4-yard pickup.
Just observing this Indiana team. They're scrappy, there's no doubt. And something similar happened to them last week where they just didn't have it in the 4th quarter. And Tom Allen's group got outgained dramatically in that 4th quarter against Nebraska. I think a lot of this has to do with the pace that they play on offense. It's unsustainable. And when you're trying to create an upset, what you want to do is minimize the total number of snaps and the total number of possessions, not maximize them. And one of the reasons you see this defense be able to play really quality football for a portion of the game but not sustain throughout the game is because they have to defend too many snaps.
Their first of the half. We have 30-second charge timeout.
And from my seat, a lot of that is born out of the way that they play on offense. It's hard because you can see the rhythm that they had when they played fast and throwing the ball around a little bit, but they don't have the depth on defense to sustain that number of snaps and possessions.
But you're seeing that all over football, not just college football. Sure. The NFL as well. You got NFL teams throwing it 53, 54 times a game.
Gosh, how sloppy was that Thursday night? That was awful. My goodness. And I'm a Bronco fan, so I was like, Russell, throw it to Hamler. Throw it to Hamler.
2nd and 6. McCarthy. Off his back foot. Complete. Schoonmaker. Doesn't have enough for a first. As Mullen makes the tackle, gains 5.
Well, even though the stat sheet is starting to fill up a little bit, there's one thing that you know this week leading into the Penn State game. If Michigan's able to hold on today, Jim Harbaugh will have the full attention of his team after today's performance, because there was enough sloppiness and inconsistent play that this Wolverine team is likely to get an earful from their coaching staff.
Penalties, 10 penalties for 85 yards for Michigan. 3rd and 1. Handoff, Corum, first down. With 5:10 to go. J.J. McCarthy, 27 of 35, 298 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception, so he's 2 yards away from a 300-yard game. He did throw an interception. First of the season.
You know, those are going to happen, and the important part in particular for a young player is how do you bounce back. And he played some of his best football actually in the series after, and a couple of series after that interception.
McCarthy hands it off. Edwards. Michigan just milking the clock now. No hurry. The ball down at the Indiana 10. Devon Matthews with the tackle on that last play. Jim Harbaugh flirted with the NFL during the offseason. The Minnesota Vikings. He said that he got so close to winning the Super Bowl when he faced his brother John. Niners and Ravens in the Super Bowl. Lights went out. He said he got so close. He was thinking about trying to maybe win that big game one time in his career, but he came back to Michigan. And here's the run. Alex Orji, quarterback, in for the Wolverine. McCarthy with some highlights today, though. That's for sure.
He was asked to throw the ball a little bit more than what they have, and he delivered for the most part, getting the ball to his playmakers, and he went to the guys that he could count on. Cornelius Johnson was able to get in the end zone. Schoonmaker here gets in the end zone after a great block from Ronnie Bell. He went to Ronnie Bell for 11 of those completions, over 100 yards for Ronnie Bell. And just the 1 interception, and again bounce back from that interception. So here we are, 27 of 35 for 298 and 2 scores. Pretty effective day for J.J. McCarthy.
McCarthy, first down Michigan as Corum dives over the pile.
Man, this series has been like a clinic of just eating up clock, running the ball. They know that if they just methodically run this ball, take another minute, if you will. Look at this, 9 plays, 54 yards now, almost 5.5 minutes off the clock. And this is a 2-possession game. You know, this is just masterclass in how to salt a game away with your offensive line in a run game.
Offensive line has been excellent today for Michigan. First down and goal at the 6. McCarthy, quick strike underneath. Cornelius Johnson, touchdown. But more importantly for Michigan, J.J. McCarthy has now recorded his first 300-yard passing game. Congratulations to that young sophomore. Cornelius Johnson with another touchdown, and Michigan takes a 30-10 lead. They came in favored by 22.
I know Cornelius Johnson and McCarthy will get the passing touchdown, but that drive was all about the O-line.
Yes, it was.
You know, and those guys up front, they did a really nice job. And remember, Carson Barnhart, 52, he came in for an injured Trente Jones at right tackle, and they just wore out that Indiana defense, and they wore out the clock. Trying to discuss right now what Tom Allen is upset about is the fact that he had a touchdown called off earlier in the game because there was a pass that went beyond the line of scrimmage while a block was taking place, and so it was called back correctly. And so he's yelling that, hey, this was caught beyond the line of scrimmage with a block downfield.
The touchdown is confirmed. There was a block at the line of scrimmage. It is a legal play, touchdown.
Allen does not win that argument. So Jake Moody, a busy man this second half. Extra point is good. Let's go downstairs and check in with Jenny.
Well, there's no doubt a special bond between Coach Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy. And when we caught up with Coach recently, we asked him about J.J. He kind of lit up and he said, you know who he reminds me of? A young Jimmy Harbaugh. He said, I like to put myself in his shoes. I don't want to overcoach him. There is something about Payne being a great teacher. I want him to figure it out on his own. He sees so much of him. Gus, I've seen them hug on the sideline. There is no doubt a special bond, and it is just the beginning of this relationship as we're watching it really just develop in front of our eyes.
I thought that was so interesting as well, Jenny, when he talked about Payne being a great teacher and how he wanted that freedom where he says, you know, when you got a great player like McCarthy, and then he looks it up and he kind of lights up. He's like I was, you know, I was kind of freewheeling and I would take some chances. And he says, but he's better than me. But I mean, he reminds me of a young Jimmy Harbaugh. And what Coach Harbaugh wants from this quarterback is he doesn't want to coach the talent out of him. And it's a fine line of how to take care of the football and play winning football, but also maintain that creativity and athleticism to go make plays.
What can we expect to see when and if things get clicking for J.J. McCarthy and this Michigan offense that we haven't seen before?
So there's two elements of this offense that I haven't seen be really good yet. They can run it, and they can throw it short and intermediate pretty effectively. What they don't do well yet, I'm not saying it won't develop, is play action and or get the ball down the field. So throwing the ball in those one-on-one situations, to the go routes, to the post routes, that needs to develop so that they can really threaten the safeties. Because what you saw today was that Indiana was able to put everyone down by the line of scrimmage and stop their run. Why? Because they haven't been able to threaten them down the field.
Is that because the receivers aren't getting separation?
Well, today they struggled getting separation, but they've had separation against Maryland. They had separation against Iowa, and J.J. needs to hit those passes. If you put that on film, those safeties watch it all week, and they're like, oh, I'm not creeping down because I don't want to get beat over the top. So that's an element of this offense that really needs to take shape. And then I think they need to get better in the play-action game. They run it so effectively that I think that they should and will be better in that area on offense. But I will tell you this about this team. If they make you one-dimensional, if you can't run it, this defensive line is really good. And I know they're missing Hutchinson and Ajabo, but boy, they get after the quarterback. And we've seen now 2 straight weeks. Iowa, once they were one-dimensional, it was over. Spencer Petras was just under fire. And here, same thing with Connor Bazelak and the Indiana Hoosiers.
In a few moments, some of you in Utah and Southern California will be sent to kickoff of the Utah-UCLA game, and that's going to be a great game, folks, by the way. For those of you staying with us, it is available streaming live on the Fox Sports app and on FS2. We will get you out there at the immediate conclusion of our game. Third down and 7 for IU. Bazelak hit as he throws, and that one incomplete. And I know it's early. Michigan has Penn State next week. Penn State, one of the best teams in the conference, number 10 ranked team in the country. Penn State is going to host Ohio State. Ohio State is going to host Michigan. This could potentially, starting next week, become epic.
I totally agree. It's you know, right now it's the deepest division in college football.
But I'll tell you this, another sack for the Wolverines. Wow, they have really been doing it. 7 sacks, that's McGregor. And I'll tell you what, partner, in my opinion, I think Ohio State is the best team in college football right now. To me, they're my #1 team.
I have them as #1 right now in this week in time, in part because of the questions around Bryce Young's shoulder at Alabama. I think those two teams have played the most consistent
We
football.
saw Alabama against Texas this year.
And they struggled.
They looked vulnerable. We saw Georgia last week against Missouri. They were vulnerable.
They were only...
But I haven't seen any vulnerability from this Ohio State team. That C.J. Stroud is turning out to be a monster.
Well, he's certainly right now a leader in the Heisman Trophy race. And, Michigan fans don't like to hear this, but that Ohio State team, they've got the best offense in the country.
Oh, my goodness.
Their defense is much better. But this is going to be a heck of an epic run to the end, because this division, as you pointed out, with Penn State and this Michigan team that is balanced. Look at this balance. The last 4 games, 571 rush yards for Blake Corum, 9 touchdowns, 3 100-yard games. And then the defense, when they get that sniff of a lead, when they make you one-dimensional, here comes that pass rush. 11 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. Their opponents running for under 2 yards per carry.
Victory formation for the Wolverines. Michigan will improve to 6-0. 3-0 in the Big Ten. Up next, Penn State in Ann Arbor in front of over 100,000. Unbelievable.
Going to be great.
And we would like to wish a speedy recovery to Coach Mike Hart, who went out early on a stretcher. And let's hope that he is okay. He had his wife with him. And that's the final, 31-10. The Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh makes the jog across the field to Coach Allen. They shake hands. Michigan did not eat the cheese.
At least not in the second half.
No, they didn't.
They took nibbles in the first.
They certainly did. The final score here at Memorial Stadium, Michigan 31, Indiana 10. Coming up after the break, we'll take you out to Utah, UCLA. For Jenny Taft and Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson saying so long from Bloomington. Have a wonderful day.